Okay, that's right.
Wise stolen words. I think maybe an appropriate way to begin a Friday morning show here.
Not stolen, plagiarized words.
Properly attributed? I don't think you did back in the day.
Well, no, but everybody knew that's one of the classic lines in a movie, right? I mean, it's up there. It's not. I wouldn't even label it top 10, but for me, that particular movie, Caddyshack, it's up there. It's top 10. I think we all have top 10 lines. Judge Smales standing out there christening his new boat, and I think he calls her Lovey. If I'm thinking correctly, maybe a throwback to Gilligan's Island. Then she smashes the. What would you call that? I'm not a boating enthusiast. I like to be on a boat, but what is it? She smashes the champagne bottle off of the. What is that?
Hull, I believe. Is that right, Jen? Looks like you're about to weigh in.
You might be probably
The
right.
back. Well, no, it's because it's like the
right.
wooden part that sticks out. The hole is the bottom part. She smashes and breaks the bow or whatever. But yeah,
we're gonna go boat geography to start in the first minute or so. I wasn't quite prepared for that one. You're exactly right.
Hey,
exactly.
Look, for this show, if you don't wake up at 5:58 and start mentally preparing yourself for what could happen in the first segment, you're going to be thrown off guard. You're going
wake up at 5:58.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, no, you wake up at 5:58. The show starts at about 6:04, 65-ish, 6:04, 65. That gives you, I think this morning my clock reads 6:06. That gives you about 7 to 8 minutes to mentally. I'm not saying us. I'm saying the listener to mentally start preparing. What are they going to talk about in the first segment? I mean, think about some of our most recent first segments that we've had. You have to mentally prepare. If you think, hey, I bet they're going to open talking about the South Carolina baseball series or something else, you're probably going to be a little bit off. So you got to mentally prepare a little bit.
Caddyshack, Perfect Strangers. You never know what's going to happen. Patrick over there with excellent lighting this morning. His camera's working well on the video stream.
Don't jinx it.
All pumped up about the hockey playoffs, lacrosse going on this weekend. Is that where your head's at?
Yeah, to be quite honest, I will probably watch zero baseball this weekend. Lacrosse starts at noon through 7:30 on Saturday and Sunday. Capitals start their cup run on Saturday. It's a jam pack. It's actually one of the best sports times of the year. The NBA will wrap up this weekend, and the Wizards will be in a play-in game next week. I'm pumped. And the Preakness on Saturday.
Got it all going.
It's a huge weekend, actually.
I don't quite see it that way. You might understand that I'm not a lacrosse aficionado like Patrick is.
Well, the hockey NHL playoffs are the best playoffs in all of professional sports.
I think we've done that a couple times. I agree wholeheartedly. They are fantastic. It's the intensity, and I'm going to be serious for a minute. What I love about the playoff hockey is it's every moment is intense. Baseball can get a little slow, right? Baseball gets a little slow. It drags. Baseball's fun. I do enjoy. NFL football's quick. It is intense. NFL football playoff is right up there with it. But NHL hockey is fast paced. It really is the quintessential American sport. It's quick. It's physical to an extent. It's violent. Every moment is intense. A goal could come at any
more than
second.
To an extent. It's violent. It's the most violent sport in the world.
Well, no, I say hold on. I say to an extent because you know this in hockey, the fights stop in the playoffs because you don't want to be in the penalty box in a critical moment and give up a power play. During the regular season, I run into you, you run into me, you poke me with your stick, I smack you back. We drop the gloves and we have fisticuffs, and then we go to the penalty box. It's a little bit in the playoff hockey. It's a little bit more like, all right, I realize I've got to be on the ice as many seconds as I can to help my team.
It's a little bit, but also, I mean, that's the beauty of it is this. Of all these 7 games, like I think in the NBA, a 7-game series gets old. Like especially in the early rounds when teams just pummel each other. Like a 4-1 series is just the most boring thing to watch when you never feel like the other team has a chance. But in hockey, I think probably the highest average of series going 7 games. And I mean, it does get violent because in those 7 games, I mean, you really learn to hate your opponent. Like there's nothing like by the end of a series, I absolutely despise every team that the Capitals play against. It gets really chippy, and then they just get in the handshake lines and shake hands after beating each other's faces in for a week or 2 weeks straight. It's amazing. I'm so excited. And the Hurricanes, if there's any Hurricanes fans, like they should be very excited. The Hurricanes are a #1 seed. They have a really good team. They have a legitimate chance of winning the Stanley Cup this year. So if there's any actual Hurricanes fans.
Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Charlie, so much missed Jordan era playoffs. #intensity. Really feeling the nostalgia this morning from Charlie. It was, I guess it was about this time last year that we were kind of reliving all of that with The Last Dance. Might have been a little bit more than a year ago now. But I think all playoffs get intense to a certain degree, but it depends on the characters to me, the teams involved, exactly what's going on.
I don't know if it changed. Did it? I didn't watch basketball in the mid-'90s at that time, but I mean, the Bulls were probably not really challenged until the Eastern Conference Finals, or were they? Like, would you go into playoffs and say, like, hey, the 6th seed in the East actually could win the NBA Finals this year? Does that ever happen?
No.
Yeah.
Tim, what do you think?
I don't remember that happening. I don't
Pacers
be challenged that much, but yeah, the Reggie Miller and the Pacers were all.
Because that's what I hate about the NBA now. I mean, there's probably 4 teams that can win the NBA Finals in any given year. And, like, maybe the conference finals will be intense, and then the finals will usually be good. But the early rounds of the NBA playoffs they're just not that fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily just a new trend, but I do think maybe just as sports fans in general, we were less cynical a couple of decades ago about people's chances to make a run, or I don't know how to explain it exactly. It just seems like this championship or bust mentality in professional sports, where you're either you have to win a title or you're going to tank and you have to rebuild your whole team. That just didn't exist back then.
That's the new rule that LeBron is trashing, notably, has kind of helped that, because they're at, like, very few teams tanked this year in the NBA, because if you were the 9 or 10 seed, if you made the 9 or 10 seed, you had a chance to make the playoffs. So, like, I know the Wizards in another year might have just shipped off Bradley Beal at the trade deadline, but because there's that play-in game and the 9 and 10 seeds have a chance to actually make the playoffs, it definitely stopped some people from tanking and just trying to kind of piece it out in the second half of the season.
Charlie just adds it was much more physical back then. I'm not going to disagree. Like, basketball has definitely changed, right? It's much more position-less now, much more big man centered back then, with a post, what kind of playing through the post. A lot of people still did it in the NBA. It wasn't necessarily like that for the Chicago Bulls, but the old triangle offense was part of that for sure. And sometimes being much more physical made it harder to watch. Remember those couple of years that Jordan was out playing baseball? It was Patrick Ewing and Hakeem Olajuwon, and those games that finished in the 70s or low 80s. And it's just not what the NBA is for sure now. Bill, I got to push back and tell you, I don't think the Stanley Cup playoffs are really what America is all about. I agree with the traits you're telling me, but the NFL has just so completely taken over the national landscape from a numbers standpoint. It's not like
right.
It's just confused that the hockey playoffs are on. They know it.
Let me stop you right there, Tim. No, you're right. But the NFL is it's the gigantic bear, whatever analogy you want to use there. I mean, the NFL playoffs are a separate entity on their own. Nobody messes with the NFL, right? I mean, you can't compare the NFL to any other thing. They had, I didn't look at the viewership, but I guarantee the viewership for the NFL the other night for the schedule release probably rivaled that. I forget what was on ESPN, because it came on ESPN too. I noticed that, and there were actual games taking place. And my guess is that the NFL schedule release challenged ratings wise anything for any other contest. So I almost throw the NFL
I'm sure it
out.
did. The NFL just has really realized that they're a year-round league now, and they just use every opportunity to just crush ratings throughout the year. I mean, they used to actually try to respect other leagues, and like NBA is Christmas Day is NBA's thing, and now I mean there's teams playing on Christmas in the NFL every single year, and they're just going to continue to do that and just crush everyone in their path. But yeah, you almost have to separate everything in American sports from the NFL because it's really not comparable.
Hey, like that, Tim. 6:15. Patrick and I are on the same page. We're not fighting this morning.
It's nice to have you guys back.
We're going to team up on you.
Until people start complaining about hockey talk.
I like to see that you guys have come back together after the afternoon filling in that started this week, and then had us off rhythm, and then I think maybe just in some interesting moods. For Gamecock baseball this weekend, rotation is the headline for sure, and it's kind of ridiculous. I think we could all have our gas baggy hot takes about what we think about it, but it's going to come down to results, right? If the Gamecocks win 2 out of 3 or sweep at Kentucky, good move changing the pitching rotation. Even if the pitching doesn't even lead the way, if it's just 12 to 10 games, say, oh, good move, good coaching. And I feel like if it goes the other way, I don't know if they know what they're doing. Well, what's going on there? Am I oversimplifying that, Bill, or are you going to agree with me here, or push back and you, Patrick, going to join forces and get on me again?
Patrick, what do you think? I'll listen to your take first.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, you got to win. You almost have to sweep this weekend, or else people aren't going to be happy no matter what. So he's smarter than me. Tinker if you may, but don't. I don't know. I'm going to be so checked out of this weekend. I'll be listening to Tommy and Derek on the radio while I watch lacrosse and hockey.
We're asking the wrong guy there, Bill.
You're asking the wrong guy this weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, all right. So, no, I'm not going to argue with Patrick. I mean, the rotation in and of itself, you switch Brett Carey. I like it. You know, Tim, you played baseball. I think, and I've said this, baseball, I think, is the most superstitious sport in America. And when things start to go downwards, and South Carolina's now they've lost 7 of their last 9 SEC series. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Games.
I think, I'm sorry, games. They've lost. They beat North Florida, so that would make 3 wins. But is it 3 wins in their last 11 games? Am I right on that? Loss to Clemson. So you throw in those 2 midweek series, maybe throw in another one. So quick thinking there. But I mean, you need to make a change. You're getting down. You got down to Mississippi State so quickly on Friday, Saturday. You weren't really able to get to Brett Carey. I say throw him out there. This is a series they should win. They're the better team. Now it's on the road, but they should win. They're the better team. And I'm not going to sit here and say, well, you got to sweep. You got to sweep. But, man, you definitely have to win this series. I think that making the NCAA tournament is still in jeopardy. I think that they're still on the right side and looking in or playing in. But, man, you go down, you lose 2 of 3 to Kentucky, and you face a very good Tennessee team at home next week and wrap up the regular season. I think you put yourself in a precarious situation.
Yeah, I just think that's not even the most important part. Like, if you lose 4-2 tonight, it doesn't even matter. People are gonna just be furious that you can't hit the baseball on Fridays anyway. Or like, how about just go out there and put like 10 runs on the board one day? Like that's what I care about seeing more than anything about tinkering with the rotation.
Yeah, win. I don't care if it's 1-0 where you scratch across a run in the 9th. I don't care if it's 21-20 and the offense looks phenomenal. I understand what you're saying, and I don't. It's not that I completely disagree. People want to see the team get hits, but this team's just got to win right now. I don't care if it's 4 batters in a row getting hit with pitches, and you hit a guy and the guy from third comes home. You find a way to win 2 of the next 3. I'm with you. I understand people want to see the bats get hot, but man, you've got to win baseball games right now. I don't care how it occurs.
The numbers look as favorable for Carolina going into tonight as they have all season long, I think, in a game 1 of an SEC series where they've only won 1 out of 8. 1-7 in SEC openers this year. But tonight's Kentucky pitcher, Cole Stupp, 4-4 on the season with a 4.31 ERA. The Gamecocks are going with Brandon Jordan, who happens to have that same record at 4-4, but a 3.52 ERA. So it's Jordan, and then, like Bill mentioned, going into the starting rotation, the closer moving to the starter's role on Saturday, and Thomas Farr, the former series opener starter, is staying in that Sunday role. So it's Will Sanders going to the bullpen. Mark Kingston asked who he's going to close with, and he says there's multiple guys he could go with. It's not where you want to be in the college baseball season, right? You don't want to be messing with your rotation with 2 series left and being exactly what you said, Bill. You're in position to make the NCAA tournament right now, but it is not the lock of all locks. The RPI number is up there. It's 15 after that Clemson loss the other night. But having lost 6 of your last 7 in the SEC and 8 of your last 11 overall, I think is the number that you gave, trending the wrong way. The Gamecocks needing to bounce back and having to do it on the road in a place that they haven't had a ton of success, even though Kentucky hasn't been one of the best SEC programs through the years. I'll give you some more details about the historical numbers in Lexington, Kentucky as we move on this morning. Other baseball news, Ronald Acuna Jr. leaving last night from the Braves game, or I should say after hitting another leadoff home run. Absolutely ridiculous, but the Blue Jays continue to have the Braves number. They win at 8-4. Acuna Jr. and the injury situation, really the headline. He's now leading the majors with 12 home runs, was trying to beat out a ground ball to third base, and had to leave that thing, not getting any official word on how long that will last at this point. We'll update that as we get the information for you.
I want to attribute it properly, but I don't know who tweeted it. I just saw it yesterday. It was one of the Braves writers, and I'm going to see if I can track it back down. The home run he hit yesterday, I think, was 424 feet. He is one of just 3 players, I believe, with multiple 400-foot home runs in like the last 20 years or something like that. Albert Pujols was the other one. I think is it was Stanton who has the other one. I'll see if I can go back and find this
In what?
tweet from yesterday.
Back-to-back nights or what?
No, it was. I want to go back and say it was an amazing stat, and I didn't think we'd bring it up, so I scrolled through it. And I was like, "Huh, that's interesting." And then I didn't. It wasn't. But no, it was something like in the last 20 years. Not on back-to-back nights. I think it was some kind of ridiculous stat. I'll see if
Definitely
I can
not
find
in a season.
Right. We need more with that stat, Bill.
Yeah, I want to go back and find it. It was a really neat stat last night, and I'll have to see if I can if I can locate it and read it back to y'all and get your take on it, because it was a really cool stat about 400-foot, or maybe it was 420-foot homers. I want to see if I can find it, because it was, again, you're right. He did that, and then the ugly injury at first base, which stunk for him and for Braves.
So it's an ankle deal. X-rays are negative. Going to stay off the injury list is the latest I'm seeing there. Tristan Pache also injured in the game. He will go on the 10-day injured list with a hamstring issue there. The Braves' young, talented center fielder. 803-404-6100, the number into the program. If you would like to join, love to hear some of your thoughts. You can call or text that number, 404-6100. Just getting started here, up and rolling on the video stream as well. YouTube, Facebook Live, on Twitter, the station handle at 1075 Game, where you can see us there. Trey, Carlton, LeVar, Sonny, Anthony, and Chavo, Jan, all up with us. Glad you're joining us on a Friday. We're going to have a good time this morning. Man, I watched something last night on ESPN that was powerful. I'll give you some of those details when we come back as well. It's the early game. It's 1075. Bill, you got Crowder here?
No, she said it was 740. 720. I'll be right back.
A 2-run home run for Meadows, and it's 4-0 Tampa Bay. This is a changeup.
There we go.
we go.
You see the Bucks Patriots tickets in Boston this year is going to be the most expensive regular season ticket of all time,
Saw that.
starting at like over $1,000 just to get in.
Ridiculous.
You think he'll get booed?
No.
No.
Not to start. Too many Tommy lovers up there.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
not
know if
Patrick.
the wound is still fresh though. Like they welcome him back in 5 years.
No. Come on. You're the worst fans of all time.
Well, they'd boom in Philly, that's for sure. I would bet anything. Do you think they'll do something like? Will it be a Tom/Gronk tribute video?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. They're gonna like make it a joint moment for both of them, but Brady's clearly way more important. He's the only reason that.
Yeah.
J-Lo dating Ben Affleck, Jimmy. Apparently, Ben Affleck was making his move while she was still engaged to A-Rod.
Well, he was making his own move, so
No respect. Yeah, I really don't know. I don't think they're gonna hug. They might still hate each other.
Great question, Donnie.
Who's gonna get like is it gonna be a 30 for 30 or is it gonna be like a 1 hour sit down interview, like when they finally make up and like go into details of their relationship? Is it gonna be like an epic 30 for 30 or is like somebody gonna just do a tell-all interview where they just go head to head and hash it out, like Dr. Phil style? That's what I'm waiting for. Probably gonna be in like 10 years, whenever Belichick and Brady are both done.
Yeah, I think that'll be I tell my side of the story only.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was. And then that would make for a better 30 for 30.
I don't know if either of them like harbor any true like resentment, or if they're just like they fully understand that they're both just huge competitors, and I don't know.
Good
I don't know
question.
if Brady resents him for wanting to go to Garoppolo, because he obviously knows that was the case. Very
Well,
curious.
They both won so much. It's almost like any ill will would just be ridiculous, but to have gotten to that point there, it's kind of ridiculous anyway.
Jordan and Phil Jackson didn't have any sort of beef, did they? Or did they?
No, it was the front office deal.
Yeah, I know it's gross, but
Kind of anti Jerry Krause.
I don't know what other like legendary athletes had beef with a legendary coach.
Yeah, good point. It wasn't a Pat Riley Lakers issue, I don't think, back in the day.
I don't think so. The other like legendary coach is like Don Shula, but he didn't have that one guy.
Marino, kind of, but that was a big thing. Your mic's on, David. Your mic is on, even though you don't have a mic. All right. Bill, we're back.
What's he doing?
What's that?
What's he doing?
No clue.
are you there?
He's not. We can see him not sitting there.
I guess we're
Hot Take Hotline, there for you 24/7 if you need it this weekend. A lot going on this weekend, especially to the world.
Are you there?
Correct, with hockey and lacrosse, NBA winding down.
Preakness.
Carolina baseball series. What was that, Patrick?
Preakness.
Oh, the Preakness. Sure. Are you in on that? What's the latest on the horse deal?
He's got a race.
What's the deal?
Not cheat. I mean, I've heard somebody talking to him yesterday about what it actually was. Like, it wasn't something that would have actually given the horse any competitive advantage. So it's more a stain on just either being careless, because every trainer uses this ointment or whatever it is, but they know that you got to stop using it however many days or weeks before race time. So the fact that Baffert cut it that close is just carelessness on his part, or whoever actually does the work. But it's like a millionth of a gram of whatever the substance is, and it's super common and everyone uses it. So it wasn't a competitive thing. It's just kind of a bummer for the horse that its reputation is going to get tarnished now. Not that it necessarily cares, but it's going to run into Preakness.
A millionth of a gram? Is that a picogram?
A picogram is a trillionth of a gram, apparently.
Really
But
getting schooled up.
21 of those equals I don't even know.
Okay. Even just hearing the explanation, I feel like that.
But it's in a race in the Preakness. It's probably not going to be able by in a couple months we'll probably get it resolved that it's forfeited the Kentucky Derby, but it will still run the Preakness. And the second favorite is also a Baffert horse.
Right, which didn't run at the Kentucky Derby, right? David Somerville at least admits, I know very few will care, but Liverpool beat Manchester United 4-2 yesterday. So he's all in on soccer. I just mentioned all that kind of stuff in case you have a hot take that wouldn't necessarily get on one of our shows here in the Columbia, South Carolina area, because it's not top of mind. Then you can call 803-978-6654 and just go ahead and get it all out there. Our hot take hotline sponsored by Twin Peaks. For the men who never settle, go see them down in Vista at 600 Gervais Street. I watched something last night on ESPN that I think anybody who's ever watched sports would appreciate. And it is, I would say you don't even have to watch sports to appreciate this thing. Did you see that? It wasn't a massive promotion, and I just saw it briefly on social media, and fortunately I just have my DVR set to record the E60 show. But the guy's name is Drew Robinson. Patrick, do you see any promotion of the Drew Robinson story by ESPN yesterday?
No.
Jenna, you're giving me a curious look as well. Looks like you guys are going straight to the Google machine.
I heard about this story. I didn't watch the
Right.
E60, but I heard like a vague description of what happened.
Yeah, you've probably seen the headline at some point.
Yeah.
I think I saw the headline for the first time when he hit a home run not too long ago. It might have been 10 days ago, something like that. Drew Robinson is a minor leaguer right now. He's played some in the major leagues. But the reason that he had an hour-long E60 done on him last night, and the reason that you probably heard of him within the last week or two, is because he tried to commit suicide about a year ago, a little more than a year ago. It was during the middle of, not the middle, I should say at the beginning of the pandemic, with baseball season having been canceled, and he was by himself and kind of isolated at his home in Las Vegas. And his baseball career had gotten to the point where he just wanted to end his life. So it pretty graphic, the details of all this thing. And I would say if you have kids, I wouldn't recommend that you let them watch this. But there was nothing from an adult standpoint in the show last night that was terribly disturbing from a graphic content standpoint. But I guess there's really no way around it. Like the guy tried to commit suicide. He ended up losing his right eye because he shot himself. And now he's back in the minor leagues. He hit a home run the other day, and he might make it back to the major leagues. The point of the of the movie last night, or the E60 profile that is about an hour long, is that he feels like he's alive for a reason and to help people through their mental health issues. It reminded me a lot of the conversation that Ryan Helinski brought to our area after his brother Tyler tragically killed himself as well, and the mental health awareness that Helinski's Hope brought to our area, and all that they did for the conversation reminded me of the scenes at Williams-Brice Stadium with everybody holding up the three there at the beginning of the third quarter, and just another way that conversation kind of gets to the forefront in sports. Bill, any familiarity with the Drew Robinson story, the minor leaguer now that's lost his eye? It's incredible. I saw you shake your head no, but I would never have thought a guy with one eye would be able to play baseball just from a vision depth perception kind of deal. It's his left eye that he has. He's a left-handed hitter. I think that might help him be in the back eye, and is now playing in the outfield. It says that he's able to do everything he's always been able to do on the baseball field. It's an incredible story for multiple reasons. But the really ironic part is he returned to baseball this year, playing for the San Francisco Giants AAA team in Sacramento. Their first game was in Las Vegas, 2 miles from his house where he tried to kill himself less than a year ago. And he's back on the field starting in the outfield for the minor league team. An incredible story, certainly worth your time. Obviously powerful and serious in tone. So not necessarily Friday night viewing. I wouldn't recommend tonight if you're looking for just some mindless entertainment or something fun to watch. But I think certainly something worth watching, and a conversation that I appreciated Ryan Helinski bringing to the table. I think for South Carolina athletics and for those of us just in the state and college football, E60 obviously did the profile on he and his family and Helinski's Hope and the whole thing. And this was another version of that. But, man, it was a gripping, powerful one. And I recommend that you check it out if you get the chance. Again, Drew Robinson is the guy's name. It is something that I would have never thought possible to play with one eye in baseball, and that's exactly what he's doing. Reminded me of some massive obstacles that others have overcome, just in a lot different cases there, Bill.
Well, I think as humans, we all learn to adapt. Now, that doesn't mean that, we can overcome every deficiency that we have in life. But I think back as you're explaining that story to Jim Abbott, how would you define that? One hand, I guess, is that fair? I'm not trying to be funny, but I think if you've got talent, you've got talent. You learn to overcome it. You learn to deal with your deficiency or your handicap or however you want to label it. And obviously, I know I have not seen this, and I was not familiar with Drew Robinson. And to be dead honest, Tim, I'm not sure how you came across this, because I don't think Patrick or Jen, I don't think I've seen. Have you seen any promos for it?
Yeah, I saw it being promoted just one time on social media yesterday, which kind of sparked my interest in it. But I just have the DVR set to record these things, and I got to the TV last night. I think right after it had aired, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna check this out and see if it's something that I'm interested in. And it absolutely was worth the time watching.
I do. Let's start with this. I think ESPN, Patrick and I on Monday on Heath's show, we just briefly mentioned Kenny Mayne leaving SportsCenter. And I only say that because we got into a little bit of SportsCenter and us growing up and watching SportsCenter and what it's become now. I do think that ESPN has been phenomenal at whether it's a 30 for 30 or a documentary or these E60s or whatever, doing these kinds of stories. And so I would imagine this one is every bit as good. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I know he's not there anymore, but the Tom Rinaldi pieces that they would show on game day highlighting a certain player and kind of a heart-tugging type story. Look, Just as much as watching South Carolina run out in 2001 is a tradition. There's a slight tradition in the Gunner household of me watching. Again, I know Tom Rinaldi's not there, but watching his story on somebody and me breaking down into a few tears as watching it. And I think ESPN does a phenomenal job. That's why I was just asking you. I hadn't seen it, and Patrick, I was well aware it was E60. My point was like on that, I had not seen any promos or previews for it. Yeah, people. I know that it's tough to say right now as we see the events of this past week with gas shortages and with everything going on in our country. People are resilient. I mean, we really are. Humans as a whole, we're by and large resilient. We're people that find a way, figure out how to do things, and it sounds like a really, really neat story. Something definitely worth watching and checking out, and I'll look in later and see when it's going to re-air and try and catch that thing. So, pretty cool little thing there for you to watch last night and obviously be able to talk about.
You mentioned Ryan Litsky. I was thinking about Hayden Hurst because Hayden Hurst, that's been his big thing now because he's very open about talking about his rock bottom when he was with the Pirates and then just got the yips and had to stop baseball, basically retire from baseball when that was really his career plan and how he was able to bounce back and all that stuff.
Well, but in this sounds some more. I mean, what is it? Is it Josh Donaldson? Is that right? The Major League Baseball player. Am I thinking of his name is Josh. He was with the Rangers, and I remember
he was with the Braves too.
He was with the Braves, and I'm thinking he's the guy.
No, not the same guy you guys are talking about. You're talking about the home run derby guy who.
Yeah.
Josh Hamilton.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The guy, and I remember watching a documentary on him, and I don't grasp this concept, and I don't mean this in a funny or bad way. I don't grasp the concept of he was talking about being an alcoholic, and he would drive home, and if he took a left, he would have to pass a bar, and he simply couldn't keep going. He would have to stop. He would have to stop at the bar. If he took a right, he would go home, and he was fine. And one day he accidentally took a left, was on the cell phone, and just took a left and drove by. He ended up stopping at the bar, drove by it. We didn't have an urge for a drink, didn't have an urge for anything. Saw the bar, couldn't help himself, stopped in, to see some people. And next thing you know, he was drinking again, and that's when his career kind of got derailed again. It's interesting, and you mentioned this guy, completely unfamiliar with him. I've never heard of him. But yeah, people overcoming, persevering, and there are a lot of great stories like that out there.
My big takeaway from Drew Robinson was this guy who grew up in Vegas, was an all-state high school baseball player, goes directly into the minor leagues, kind of fights his way through the minor leagues. I think it took him 7 years to get to the majors and has had a bunch of success there. But he mentioned how he had in his head this idea of perfection and the standard of perfection that he felt he had to live up to. And it developed, obviously, an unhealthy way of thinking and led to him trying to take his own life. It reminds me of Hayden Hurst, like you were talking about, Patrick. I mean, a guy supremely talented. And it's easy for us as fans, I think, to just separate these guys that have achieved so much more than most of us ever athletically, and thinking that, that they're bulletproof in a lot of ways, and they're going to feel good about themselves and have confidence all the time in the whole thing. It's like I was talking to Gary Rich earlier this week. I think it was on Monday, and we were talking about just issues of confidence in sports. And I told him it's hard for me to imagine that big time athletes in the SEC or in pro sports, that they battle with that confidence issue because they're so much better than most people who've ever played the game. They're also human. And that's the big takeaway that I got out of this, is that, man, doesn't matter how good an athlete is, they still think like, I think, most athletes ever. And if they're not having success, they doubt themselves. And it can become, obviously, completely unhealthy. And you got to be ultra careful. I watch it now, Bill. I'm sure like you do with those Tom Rinaldi pieces that you're talking about, kind of as a father and kind of projecting towards my kids and the whole thing. And I'm like, man, I want to make sure my kids understand that they don't have to be perfect and they don't have to be the best baseball player of all time or whatever. Just an interesting story in so many ways. Drew Robinson's story. Drew Robinson is the name of it. E60 was the piece last night. 803-404-6100 is the number into the show. If you would like to join, we need to take a quick break. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
Your 24/7 sports station.
I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good.
107.5 The Game.
You know who else is feeling pretty good this morning? That's your boy, Bill Gunner. You know why? Sleep Number Bed. Wake up each and every morning feeling pretty good. That's exactly right. I wake up feeling great, rested, refreshed, ready to go each and every day, all because of my Sleep Number Bed. You can do the same. You just need to make the switch today. Discover proven quality sleep during the Memorial Day sale. Save $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed. Exclusive offers available for military members, but you can only find this at a Sleep Number store. 2 to choose from. 1 in Irmo on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. I put that sleep number setting on 45, and you want to guess how I wake up feeling? I've already said it a couple times. I'm not going to make you listen to it again, but it's pretty good. I wake up feeling pretty good. I'm ready to deal with Tim, Jen, and Patrick each and every morning. So discover proven quality sleep during our Memorial Day sale. Save $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed. Exclusive offers available for military members. Again, make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like. I think that was a little bit better. I was trying to look down at the clock, not lose my place, figure everything out.
What's that?
I said, I think that was a little bit better. I was trying to look down at the clock, not lose my place, figure out where everything was at.
Attaboy, yes, much better.
And then I hate to say it, they sent me multiple scripts, so I'm just at this point with that one, I'm just reading whatever script I get to first because it may or may not be the right one.
Sometimes a lot is too much. Simpler is better. There we go. See ya. There it is. All right, finally found the Kentucky numbers here. Sorry, clicking around on this Lexington stuff. That's annoying. All right. There we go. Last time in Lexington, lost 2 out of 3 in 18. That means 16. Lost 2 out of 3. 14. Lost 2 out of 3. 12. Swept.
You're not really telling a very nice story.
Oh no. If you're looking for a nice story, that definitely is not it. What's going on there? 2010. Swept. Lost 2 out of 3. 2008. 2009.
All right, we're heading back in. Hey, kids are up.
Kentucky Joe, Cool Care Heating and Air text line, and played soccer with a kid who had a tractor accident, had to have his leg cut off and a hand cut off. Was one of the best pitchers in high school. Also played soccer with an incredible amount of skill. One-eyed baseball player is impressive. Human's will is amazing. I guess it reminds me too of I retweeted it a while ago. I want to say maybe a month ago of this basketball prospect now who has the one arm. Bill, have you seen him play? Performed impressively down in Florida. I think we might have been doing the show when we were talking about this.
Y'all, we were doing the show. Y'all were talking about it. I looked a little bit at it. I didn't go out of my way to look at it.
And I recommend you checking this guy out. I looked him up. I guess he was from another country originally and just moved to our country a couple of years ago to play basketball specifically and try to play college basketball. Looks like he's on his way for sure. But this is all coming off that Robinson story I was talking about. What's that, Patrick?
Hansel Emmanuel?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Yeah, there was a bit. I saw a video of him last weekend just at an AAU tournament dunking in somebody's face.
Down in Florida, correct? And that's where he's playing at?
I don't know where. I think it looked like it was a tournament, so it could have been anywhere. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
jammed on somebody. It was ridiculous.
I think that's where he's playing in high school basketball right now. Another inspirational story in a lot of ways for sure. But this is coming off that Drew Robinson story that aired on E60 last night about a baseball player who tried to kill himself, lost his eye, and is now back in the minor leagues and could get back to the major leagues somehow. 803-404-6100, where you can hit us up on that Cool Care Heating and Air text line, where Kentucky Joe just hit us up there. And back to the horse racing thing, which I'm still always baffled by. Anonymous texter hits us up. Bob Baffert was just careless. Yeah, right. He has a reputation for this kind of stuff. It was no accident. He's been hit with 5 horse drug busts, and his alibi this time was the equivalent of my little brother ate my homework, so give me a break that he was just not paying attention in the horse racing. Naive much?
Okay. You're a smart guy.
So,
Go ahead.
well, I understand horse racing so little that I don't even get it.
Well,
It's not even a ban. It's like you're allowed to use the substance. It's just everyone in horse racing knows that you can't use it however many days out from race time. So that's exactly what it was. It's a substance that everyone used. So it was either defiant or careless or just stupid. And Bob Baffert, I'm pretty sure, was not the one rubbing it on the horse. So, I mean, maybe he needs to do a better job dealing with his people, but that's what it was. It was careless. It's not even an illegal.
Bob Baffert could be in there. Wrist deep.
Maybe.
Oh, boy.
Wow, really, Jim?
So, wait a second. Is the anonymous texter's point that ointment used too close to the Kentucky Derby is what drove the horse Medina Spirit to the win?
everyone agrees that it's not what it didn't affect the race outcome at all.
5.
Picograms away from being a good first hour. Hour 2 coming up.
South Carolina head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home.
Did we ever determine exactly how much a pico? Did we ever determine how much a picogram is?
While you were
That's
gone,
what it's up. A trillion? Did you say of a gram?
Yeah.
Right.
21 trillion grams.
That is incredible. Yeah, and then cue the Clemson jokes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going back and looking at this because that did not make sense to me.
What?
One more time. These numbers in Lexington not looking good for the Gamecocks. At first glance, I got 0-8 the last time they won a series there. All right, 18. Lost 2 out of 3. There was no 2020 series, right? Lexington lost 2 out of 3 in 16. 2014 lost 2 out of 3. 2012 swept. 2010 a little wonky. Let's get up there. Won the first game, lost the next 2. Wow. So in 2012, when they played for the national championship, they were swept at Kentucky.
Really? I think Kentucky was pretty good. That was early in the season, though. Did you just say that? That was really early in the season. I think Kentucky was pretty good.
Yep. 2010, though, late in the season in May, also won the national championship that year. Also lost 2 out of 3 in Lexington. And then had played, so it's 2009. For some reason, they had played back-to-back years in Lexington, according to what I'm looking at. And in 2009, they won 2 out of 3, including a 20-19 win. Wow. That was in March. So what was the other series that they won this year? It was at Georgia for the first time in a long time, right?
I think so.
Wait, what? Was the one series that they won that what?
They hadn't won a series at Georgia in a long time until this year.
Well, what have they won? They swept Florida, beat Georgia, beat Missouri.
Yep, I think that's it right now.
Is that it?
Maybe there was one more. LSU, at LSU.
Oh, LSU.
That's right.
All right, so I got the Athens numbers right here too. Let's see if I can figure those out. Double check. That was right. It was 2010. They had one in Athens. It's like the last time. Yep.
So you guys ready to start talking Indy 500, right? Opening
Of
day
course.
on the 18th. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, Patrick, are you good for that Friday, Memorial Day weekend? Or are you trying to get out of town?
No, I'll be good.
Thanks. So, Chin, we're good.
Appreciate that. That was a good good note to get yesterday that it's taken a while to kind of shuffle through all the tickets and everything
Sure.
and decide who can go and who can't. And so, yeah.
So
What day is that? The 25th?
no, the
Yeah.
Friday.
That Friday.
Oh, I'm in June. The 28th?
Yeah, that sounds right. 29th. 30th. Yeah. Race
I'm
is
in for,
30th.
I'm in for Pearson that week, too.
Ugh.
You have to do that Friday for Pearson as well. Is that what you're saying?
That's the week Pearson's, what do you say? That's a pretty wedding week, yeah.
Oh.
That's his wedding week.
Yeah. People think
Thank you, Chavo. I did think my sleep number was a very good promo. I like that. Ansley called me saying that I like that promo. That one, I'm feeling pretty good. Ansley called me saying that walking up the stairs the other day and looked at me like I had 3 heads.
So she's a smart girl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got her tooth fixed yesterday. We got the
Excellent.
tooth fixed.
Did you stay in the 3 digits or did you have to go 4?
I hadn't seen that bill yet. Apparently, we had another one for Austin's teeth. Let's just say that there will be a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and no vacations for me for a while.
Doctors are so shady. I feel like you should have like a digital rendering above their heads as they're doing the service.
Just watching it.
Still.
Dr. Cairns does a good job. I like him. I've known him since I was little, but whoa. And then dental insurance. Then the girl was laughing. The girl up front, she was showing me how much the bill was and how little the dental insurance paid.
Yep.
I was ridiculous.
I had to go to an orthopedic guy the other day, and sadly had to do a few surgeries on me. And when I walked in, he's like, "Oh, my annuity." Like, yeah, pretty much.
When you walked in, he didn't get on the phone with the car dealership and go,
Yeah.
"I'll take that other Lamborghini in the red this time."
He waited till he left the room. Guys, we're up.
Perfect. Into hour number 2 here ahead of tonight's series opener, Carolina, Kentucky baseball. Bill, Kentucky baseball, I think is probably even lower on the totem pole from a Gamecock fan standpoint than Kentucky football. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Because,
I think.
and Gamecock baseball is so much higher just on the SEC hierarchy than Gamecock football. You want to guess the Gamecocks record in the last 10 games against Kentucky? Last 10 games. How many games do you think Carolina has won?
I'd say 4. Wait, 10.
5.
Go to okay.
5 is the answer.
I was going to say go to 12. Give me the last 4. That'd be the last 4 series, but the last 4 years I would assume. Or maybe there's an SEC tournament you're throwing in there.
Yeah, I think they've met a couple of times in the SEC tourney, but I was just going last 10 games. What's the record? I need round numbers, Bill. I can't go to 12. My brain doesn't work that way.
You know what comes in dozens? Donuts.
Donuts.
That's how I operate. Yeah.
Speak a little differently. You guys, you might have heard it in the live video stream there. I don't know if you heard the last time South Carolina went to Kentucky and won a baseball series. You guys got a year on that?
The fact you have looked it up and you've talked a little bit about it off air, but you haven't mentioned it. And I'm guessing the fact that you're asking and it feels like a surprise. I would say, let's see, they go every other year, right? Every other year, right? Like I know sometimes the baseball schedule gets a little wonky, and but it's an Eastern Division opponent, so every other year. So it's 2021. I'll go way back. I'll say like 2007.
It was the time after that, 2009, the last time that Carolina's gone up to Kentucky and won an SEC series. So that includes a couple of national championship teams there, and they're in the mix, or one national championship team, another that played for it. That 2012 team got swept at Kentucky. 2010 was the number this year that Carolina got to take off the record books with Georgia. SEC series wins in Athens hadn't happened since 2010 until this year. So Carolina has clearly done that. They need to get back on that winning track for sure. So it's been the SEC season, Bill, has been really representative of this entire season for the Gamecocks, how they started with an 11-game win streak and then lost 6 in a row. So they started SEC play with a couple of losses and then came back to avoid the sweep against Vanderbilt, then went on to win their next 4 series, and since then they dropped their last 3. So this has been a bit of a wild ride, and now it will be with a different starting rotation for the second straight week. Last week it was just moving Thomas Farr to Sunday, moving Brandon Jordan up from Saturday to the first game of the series, and Will Sanders also shifting up to game number 2. And now Will Sanders is out of the starting rotation, back. Mark Kingston, the Carolina coach, telling us he'll be back in those situations we saw him earlier in the season. The situation that got him a couple of wins against Clemson, coming out of the bullpen in some precarious situations when the game is on the line late. Will Sanders will be that guy. Andrew Peters will be that guy, continue to be that guy like he has been. And now Brett Carey, no longer that guy, going to be the starting pitcher in Saturday's matchup against Kentucky. And you got Thomas Farr again going on Sunday this weekend. So a big move in a lot of ways for the Gamecocks. Bill, this is it's pretty simple to me. Ray Tanner simplified it very well during his time. It was with Matt Price, right? The All-American closer. They moved him to starter, I think, going into his senior year for at least maybe a handful of starts, and then moved him back to the bullpen. But the easy way to make the decision for Ray Tanner at the time is you want to have your best guy on the mound to help you win the most games. Simple enough, right? And that's why you don't necessarily have your best guy as a starting pitcher. Clearly this year, the starting rotation has been an issue in SEC series, especially in games number 1, where they've only won 1 of 8 now. The record is 1-7 in those series openers. And to have won half of those series is pretty impressive, knowing that we've only won the series opener 1 time. What Carolina can do. We went through the numbers, was it earlier this week, Patrick, or last week, about the overall scoring in the SEC play? I guess it was on Monday, I want to say.
Was it that long ago?
Maybe Tuesday. I don't know.
I thought it was
earlier this week.
Yeah, I thought it was yesterday.
We were talking about how Carolina's actually outscored their SEC opponents, which might be a little hard to believe now after they've been struggling here lately, but it hasn't even been close. Not in their favor in games number 1, and then in games number 2 and 3, they've really outdistanced their opponents. So what happens this weekend will go a long way into determining exactly what happens with the Gamecock baseball team when it comes to the NCAA regional, and the chances of hosting have dwindled here with the recent struggles for sure. It's still an opportunity, but Bill, like you said, so is not even making the tournament at all, and that's part of the drama I think that we see in the SEC a lot this time of year. And I think a lot of other SEC teams are in there. Kentucky's in there too, by the way. They're not going to host an NCAA regional, but they can certainly play their way in, just a game behind the Gamecocks in the conference standings at 11-13. And these games are massively important to them. Typically, Carolina's played Kentucky earlier in the SEC slate and hasn't really met them down the stretch like this. So it will be interesting to see if that changes anything and maybe helps Carolina towards crunch time, a team that historically has come through in the postseason, as opposed to a Kentucky program that doesn't have nearly the pedigree of success down the stretch. As a starter, Brett Carey going for the Gamecocks, I think is a good move for game number 2, just because the way the starting rotation has struggled, and I think how much confidence the Gamecocks have in a guy that has done it in different ways in his career, both closing, in long relief, and then a guy that clearly can get batters out. But, man, I think tonight's game, a lot like going into last weekend, I thought that was a huge game. with Mississippi State coming off getting swept at Ole Miss, and to lose that one 9-0, I think really sucked a lot of momentum out of the program. And Carolina fortunate that it didn't result in another weekend sweep, having come back on Sunday and got a gritty, gutty win there. I think you win tonight, you set yourself up, and you're feeling really good and being in a place you haven't been except for one other time. That was the Florida series this year. You lose tonight and winning 2 straight with especially you throwing your closer out there to start game number 2. I think it puts yourself behind the 8 ball, and then any kind of doubt or lack of confidence that this team has had, I think it has the opportunity to unfortunately just become a little bit larger in Lexington.
Well, let's go back to what you said, because this is where it stands with South Carolina. We didn't think we'd be having this conversation, 3 weeks ago when Arkansas came to town. As we sit here today, South Carolina is likely in the NCAA tournament. They're in the NCAA tournament as we sit here today.
No-brainer, but probably a 2 seed.
Definitely, I think it's definitely a 2 seed. I don't see them hosting now. I don't see them hosting. I'll actually be interested to see if they can even get into the top 20 potential host sites, which would give them an opportunity, hypothetically, to let's say sweep Kentucky, win 2 of 3 from Tennessee, make a small run in the SEC tournament that maybe then puts them in position. But I don't see that coming as of today. So 2 seed, but this is a huge series. Now you get number 4 Tennessee next week, and I mean, let's just, again, for a hypothetical sake, you get swept this weekend, but you bounce back and sweep Tennessee. All right, well, one kind of cancels out the other. As a matter of fact, Tennessee series probably will mean a little bit more because of where they rank. With all that being said, that's highly unlikely that's how things play out. I think they've got to go win 2 of 3. They have played their way, mind you, against really good competition. Right, Tim? Right, Patrick? Jen? It's not like they're losing to Missouri or Georgia or bad baseball teams. The teams they've lost to are pretty doggone good baseball teams, but you still have to win a few more games than 2 out of the last 9. And this is an opportunity this weekend to go and win 2 of 3. If you can sweep, that's great, but you need to win the series, beat Appalachian State on Tuesday, and then gear up for senior weekend against Tennessee and try and win that series. And if you do that, you go to the SEC tournament. I think it's going to be fascinating, absolutely fascinating how teams elect to play the SEC tournament. It's always been a discussion around here. Hey, look, you're going to the postseason anyway. You're probably hosting. What exactly does the SEC tournament mean? Do you really want to go and waste arms and waste energy and do things for a tournament that's pretty irrelevant compared to what you're about to go through in 2 weeks? SEC tournament gets pretty interesting and how it will be played this year.
Other Gamecock baseball news and note from yesterday: Sam Swigert will transfer from South Carolina. This according to Gamecock Central. Swigert was a redshirt freshman, did not appear on the field this season for the Gamecocks, rated as the number 13 prospect in the state of the 2020 class, originally from South Aiken. So Sam Swigert will not continue his Carolina baseball career and will continue it elsewhere in the transfer portal there. And one game last night in the SEC, a good one. Watched a little bit of Mississippi State. Missouri was up on them most of the game. It was a infield single that got Mississippi State the lead, and they were able to hold on and win it at home as the number 3 team in the country. A great example, Bill, I think, of what the SEC is. Last night, Mississippi State edges Missouri 5-4. Missouri thought of as one of, if not the worst team in the SEC. Mississippi State certainly one of the best, not just in the SEC, but in the country. It's a one-run game where they had to fight tooth and nail.
Yeah, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know you said the Missouri's. The Missouri Friday night guy came in and beat South Carolina. That's the crazy thing about baseball, right? You got one guy on Friday night, and most teams in the SEC have a great Friday night guy. I know they didn't win last night, but you can go in and put up a fight, right? Like that Friday, it's the depth of the bullpen behind, or the pitching staff behind that guy, is what makes the elite team stand out. South Carolina's got some of that. South Carolina has some of that. They just got to find the right combination right now. We'll see if they get that with Brett Carey this weekend.
Yeah, well, Mississippi State, their starter goes 3 innings last night. Missouri's goes 5. So you can do it in a whole lot of different ways. Gamecocks just have to get it done. That's the point where they're at in the SEC, and doing it in Lexington has been difficult historically. Again, haven't won a series there since 2009. We'll see what Mark Kingston and company can do starting tonight, 6:30 game time tonight, so 6:15 airtime here on 107.5 The Game. Get back into a bit of a college football development, I guess, out there. And who knows where this Friday show will go. Bill, I kind of like where you started us coming off the Caddyshack intro. Maybe we'll go down that route as well.
Oh, good. Never know.
Glad you're in a good mood this morning, sir. Patrick, what did you say? You're about even right now in the mood standpoint. You got to be feeling good about your lighting right now on the video stream. It still continues to look
Yeah, I mean, it helps that the sun comes out early for sure, too, because we got a little coming in from the window as well. I'm very happy with the lighting right now.
I think Patrick's got a – what did you say, Patrick? I mean, you were mentioning it. You got me hung up on the lacrosse thing, but it's a big weekend of sports for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge weekend. I'm very excited for the lacrosse. That'll be on TV number 2 or the computer. It's going to be a three screen weekend, pretty much all weekend long.
That right there.
Yeah,
Let me ask you.
playoffs.
I'm confused. Yeah, there's a game tonight. Is this just a regular season game? It's weird that there's a game tonight and then the playoffs, I think, technically start tomorrow. Toronto and Winnipeg. Is this like a play-in game? I got to admit,
no, they're just finishing the season.
That's weird, right, Tim?
Why?
You just got 2 teams finishing the regular season.
Just played it out tonight. Toronto and Winnipeg.
Hey, you guys finish it out.
Well, Boston and Washington are playing on Saturday, and they played on Monday night. Even though the series was already set, they still played the game, and Boston just benched all their players. So, yeah, it's just the way it is. Toronto is playing Montreal on probably next week, and then Winnipeg's playing Edmonton.
I mean, in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, yeah. Yeah,
it's 4 teams are just limping down to the stretch here in the regular season, trying to scrape as much money together as they can.
Well, no, you have to play the allotted games. Why do you play week 17 in the NFL because the season's not over yet?
Yeah, you do have to.
Everybody
I agree with
plays
Patrick.
the
I was going to say, I thought there was like
day.
I thought there was like a cutoff day where you're like, all right, this is the final day, and then everybody gets 2 days to kind of whatever.
Well, their playoff series will start later than the others.
I saw that they start Wednesday. They start
They don't all start the same day because there was COVID and games got canceled and they had to make up the games.
Okay. Now we're to the bottom. So you're saying this is more of a makeup game.
It's not like you can just say, hey, the playoffs are set.
Yeah, gotcha.
Forget this game. No,
okay, all right. Now you.
So yeah,
we're
the Eastern playoffs will start on Saturday and Sunday, and then the Canadian that division is not finished yet. So I think they're going to start on like Monday and Wednesday.
I feel better now. We've got that cleared up.
It's a weird bracket this year too. You have to play out of your region. There's no divisions this year, so then they'll reseed after the division rounds are done. So potentially 2 Eastern Conference teams or 2 Western Conference teams could meet the Stanley Cup Final for the first time ever and only time ever.
That is interesting for sure. Let's take it from Canada back a little closer to home. Travis just hits us up on Facebook Live saying that they just cleared up something at Malfunction Junction and moved it off to the side, but everyone's still stopping to look. So good to see that that is headed in the right direction, and we're headed to a traffic update as well here. 803-404-6100 is the number into the show. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game. So I'm thinking, wow, that's really loud.
Yeah, what was that?
I'm thinking one line from a movie. If you have to take one line, what do you take?
Oh, I like this one. Good. While you submit that great question, I've switched. So I've made another coffee switch. I don't know if y'all do this. I've gone to it's the cold brew, the Starbucks. You can just buy it at the store. Put the cold brew in there with some ice and some creamer. Delicious. Yep. I'm pretty sure it's full of calories, though. Pretty sure this is the least healthy coffee you can drink. This is the complete opposite of the straight black coffee.
It doesn't have to be.
Because of the creamer?
Is it just cold brew coffee?
Yeah.
It's exactly the same as regular coffee, I think.
Yeah, but it's delicious with creamer, Patrick. It's delicious.
Well, yes, but I think a hot coffee with cream would be equally as not good for you. I think.
I didn't know. Oh,
All right, I threw it out on Twitter there about the old one-liners.
the one-liner. That's right, Craig. It is a La-Rocky weekend for Patrick. Patrick, you got big like food plans for the Capitals game at 7:15 on Saturday night?
No. Too many games for that.
So is it just a weekend spread?
No, I'll probably just eat leftovers. I made a bunch of taco meat yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, so I'll probably just be eating that all weekend.
The way to do it. And you see our boy here leading us off on the text line in the 7 o'clock hour.
Yeah, he just
Going back and looking yesterday. Good stuff. Repeated the 5:50 text verbatim at 12:07.
From yesterday?
Yep. The old copy and paste. Keeping the curse word in. 12:13 one. Same four-letter word. At least he kept it clean this morning.
July 25th, 1966, great Ted Williams was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
All due respect, that idea ain't.
All of my favorite movie quotes are Ricky Bobby quotes. I'm trying to figure out if any of them are actually safe for the air.
See, I think this tells you a lot about a person.
Or 21 Jump Street, anything that Ice Cube says, and none of them are appropriate for the air.
Is this, Jen?
Somebody being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Old timey clip of the day.
Right? Where is it from?
I don't remember. Ted Williams?
I think it might have been Lou Gehrig.
I don't think it was that. It was somebody who did not have a good relationship with the press.
Ted Williams, yeah. That's a great one, Craig. Can't see the line, can you, Russ?
Yeah. All right, guys, we're up.
Rolling into the weekend. Hope you're in a good mood as we hit near the halfway point of our Friday extravaganza here on the early game. Tim Hill, Bill Gunter, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, all with you. Great to be with all of you guys again at this time last Friday. I know we were filling in. You guys were filling in for Pete Klein, so a little disjointed or so. And I know that the week started that way as well. And Bill, do you feel like you're back in the rhythm yet?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'm not going to go in on air about my personal life and just how having something set in stone at 4 o'clock on a Friday is not a lot of fun. But I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with you guys. Remembering Jen's snarkiness, it'll feel a lot better. You know, if Chase Elliott can pull off the victory this weekend. But yeah, I mean, it's I feel a little bit better. You guys know this. We've done the show for 5 years, and y'all heard me talk about this even when we were in studio. I'm 32 weeks ago, I turned 39. I am such a creature of habit. Like, it's amazing how just little things, and Tim, I think you've made fun of me more than anybody else, but it's amazing how just little things can upend my world when just making a small change from, being done here at 9 a.m. and kind of having the rest of the day to, if I need to go and do stuff. Yesterday's a perfect example. My daughter had chipped her tooth wrestling with her brother. And if you've ever had a child chip her tooth, I felt awful because it wasn't bad. It wasn't like bad, but you feel bad for her. She's self-conscious. She's 11 and you want it fixed. You don't want her at school being embarrassed. And I joked that, hey, you're already wearing a mask. Nobody's going to know. Didn't seem to really hit home. It was more of like, Dad, nobody cares. You're an idiot. Stop talking. And I was like, huh, you hear that on the radio show all the time. It's odd that it's trickling into real life too. But getting that fixed and then having the afternoon. So yeah, I'm feeling more in rhythm. Got a little bit better now. Look forward to getting back, continuing to do it next week.
My at-home moment last night happened. It was 7:30-ish. 8 and 6-year-old. We're doing the shower bedtime routine. I hear a massive thump. Go back, see what happened. The 6-year-old starts crying. I was like, what happened? Like, he just ran into the doorway. He was looking down at the stepwatch, just trying to get some steps to finish up the day, and just smacked his head into the doorway. He's like,
oh, no.
I got an egg on my head. It's not as big as Tom's and Tom and Jerry, but it's still pretty big.
Great reference. I love
All right.
that.
He's all about Tom and Jerry these days. That's basically what my 6 and 8-year-olds are. He was fine. He's good. It's good to go. College football yesterday, 2 headlining things. First of all, this Ohio State situation is near unimaginable to me. Apparently, there was an investigation into the Ohio State football program, and they found that a masseuse is in the wrong, and she has put the poor Ohio State football players in compromising positions. And there have been lines crossed, but the investigation found that it was by the masseuse basically taking advantage of the football players and then demanding money after that. The other one was maybe equally as unimaginable, certainly 10 years ago or so. Someone from Vegas who works for the casinos now going to run a conference, one of the Power 5 conferences in college sports. The head of MGM, basically. I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name. Klyavkov, like that. Klyavkov. George Klyavkov, I think might be the name to say that. President of Entertainment and Sports for MGM Resorts International. Now taking over for Larry Scott as the next commissioner of the Pac-12. Bill, what's going on with the Pac-12? I don't understand how did they go there to get their commissioner? A job that is not easy and has been a bit of a joke in college sports now. The way that Larry Scott just was kind of the Big Ten puppy dog through the last, I don't know how many years, but especially the last year and all the COVID stuff.
I don't know. The answer to your question is I don't know. I mean, that conference has done just an incredible job of, I don't want to say making itself irrelevant, because I don't feel like they're irrelevant, but just almost being rudderless, I think, is a way to, and I feel like this is, if I can explain it properly, I feel like you're hiring a guy who knows how to promote entertainment with MGM, like fights and, hey, come see our casinos and come see the shows that we have here. I don't feel like you're hiring a business guy who necessarily understands the ins and outs of college athletics. This is hiring a guy who's going to say, hey, we're going to put, Oregon and Southern Cal in a boxing ring and have Fan Man fly in halfway through. Like, I feel it's going to be just a sideshow of kind of what it's been. And look, the bottom line is Pac-12, they got to recruit better. You got to get better football teams. You got to find a way into the college football playoff. I don't know how they go about doing it, and I just this is a weird scenario. They got to find a way to figure out that television deal to become a little bit more relevant. Was it Larry Scott's idea to have the 9 a.m. West Coast kickoff games to be new? Was it his? Okay, yeah. You got to find stuff like that. I don't know how they go about doing it. I feel like I will say this. I think all three of us, Jen. I don't think you ever got into it like Tim and Patrick and I did. I felt like they were building a brand, albeit hard to watch because we're all getting older and staying up till 10, 11, 12, even on a Saturday night is difficult. But Pac-12 After Dark was becoming its own thing. And if they'd have leaned into that and found a way to promote it or whatever, that could have been a success or could be a success.
I'm with you on that. Patrick, any reaction to the news there going to the MGM to get a conference commissioner out there in the Pac-12?
No, I mean, I guess he knows how to make money. I'm reading some stuff on it right now, and it seems like he's very much aware of the criticisms that Larry Scott received from everyone and just kind of like not understanding any sort of the landscape of college football. And he's at least aware of that. So, I mean, I guess it's a good hire. It's just so random. I don't think you'd ever expect them to just hire outside of the sports world altogether, but maybe that just full-on 180 is exactly what the conference needs, because I'd argue that they were irrelevant, at least in football. I mean, nobody watches Pac-12 games unless they're playing in the Rose Bowl.
To me, it wasn't a hire outside the sports world. It was just from maybe the strangest place they could have gone outside of maybe WWE. You go to the president of entertainment and sports at MGM. When you're a college sports league, maybe now with the name, image, and likeness deal that is part of college athletics, going to be officially part of it very, very soon. Yes, we're into the future. Just never would have seen this one come. Officially kicking off the second half of the show when we come back here. I threw it out on Twitter at TimHill1075. Bill started the show with Caddyshack intro, mentioning how much he loves that. So that got me thinking about, you could just take one line from a movie. What would you take? I think it says a lot about you. One line. Patrick's still trying to go with a line.
Well, that was part of our as freshmen on the lacrosse team, my freshman year of college. While we were stretching, one person would be selected every morning for an on-the-spot. One freshman would be selected for an on-the-spot movie quote, and it had to be good. You had to make the entire team laugh, or else you were just going to keep getting asked every single day. Yeah.
Nice. So what did you go with then?
I can't say it. I cannot say it.
Fair. But movie, at least.
The Hangover.
Oh, gosh.
See, I got to admit, Tim, I've got one that just popped into my head that I'm going to go with, but I feel like mine changes on a daily basis.
That seems very fair.
Well,
I completely can see that.
And there's some really good ones, and then there's ones like you could use. Or, like movie quotes, like Tommy Boy, like, what'd you do? I mean, it's just kind of a classic. Is that my one quote, or is it?
No, it's a big decision, Jen. Big decision on a Commitment Friday here on the show. Good luck coming up with your final answer. I threw mine out on Twitter. I'll give it to you. Am I the only one? So, Bill, you said you had decided. Bill and I are the only ones that have made decisions, sounds like, so far.
Well,
get everybody to weigh in on this thing. Craig's got a great – can't see the line, can you, Russ? Well done, Craig, on Facebook live stream. You're listening to the early game here on 107.5.
Hey, we've got a way to help you with that second. You know when the microphone is on and they can't hear you can...
Big weekend, baseball, hockey playoffs, as you heard. Maybe you're fired up like Patrick. Big lacrosse weekend. There's also maybe some house hunting you want to do. Maybe you want to start thinking about refinancing your home. Great time to do it. You don't want to miss a golden opportunity, and you need a mortgage guru to help you. There's no better mortgage guru than Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. He's helping people refinance right now and save $200, $300, $400 a month. How about that? Can you imagine having an extra like $300 in your month to spend on, I don't know, hockey tickets or a new TV for the lacrosse playoffs? How phenomenal would that be? Give Jacob Crowder a call, 803-719-1005. So much business right now. He's added Brian Kovar to the team. They're a guru team. That's right. Give him a call today, 719-1005. If you're looking to refinance, if you're looking to buy a home, now is the time. Don't miss the golden opportunity. 803-719-1005. He's the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, with First Palmetto Bank. That's a pretty funny one. Also a good one, Justin. Damon, Justin, I like those. Two very good ones.
What do we got here? Let me pop that thing out real quick. That is good, Damon. I haven't heard that one in a line. That used to be in an intro, the halftime show intro, right? Well, we're waiting. I don't even know what movie is it from off the top of my head.
What? You don't know what movie? It's the movie. It's the movie that started this entire conversation.
Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not good at quoting the Caddyshack.
I'm not either.
I've only seen Caddyshack once. I couldn't quote it.
And is that your boy Judge Snells too?
Yeah, and when they're putting, when Danny Noonan, Danny Noonan is putting to win, and they look over and Snell says, "Well, we're waiting."
Be like hilarious. I've seen Joe Dirt. Would never be able to tell you a line from that movie. And Anthony, I would have guessed about 1,000 movies. Would have been first before Joe Dirt. That's why I think this is an interesting conversation.
Mine just always come from either 21 Jump Street, Ricky Bradley, Hangover, or Old School.
You see, Friday was one of those movies back in my day that hit right in college. Travis is going that route. Well done, Travis. Yeah, I feel like the Caddyshack quoters were about 5 years younger than me. 5 years older than me, I should say. 5 years before my time. But I know Justin is much younger than me, so it doesn't make any sense at all. Whoa. Like Other Guys? I've never even heard of Other Guys.
Really?
You never seen the Other Guys?
Will Ferrell.
What's the Other Guys?
Dude, that movie is hilarious. Mark Wahlberg and Ferrell. That movie's hysterical.
That's
what. Is that what they're? Oh, that's when they're cops.
Married to.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Who's the female? Yeah.
But I would never be able to quote you anything from that movie at all. But that's the one. Is that the one where they he gets pumped up with the music? What's the music that I actually do like? That's it, right?
Oh yeah.
The Little River Band.
Yeah, the Little River Band. Like LRB.
There's some really good stuff in that.
That's the one scene in that movie that I remember that stuck with me.
Well, Will Ferrell has that crazy long quote about.
Oh, I didn't realize Eva Menendez is married to Ryan Gosling.
Just Mendez. She's not. Yeah. Just Mendez.
Is that who was in the movie? It wasn't Carmen Electra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that confirmed, Patrick? I didn't realize that either.
I didn't know that.
So Eva Menendez is married to Ryan Gosling?
Mendez.
Again, just 2 syllables. Mendez.
I think Menendez is the brothers who killed her
Right.
parents.
Different.
Okay, did y'all know she was married to Ryan Gosling, or y'all just
No
gonna
clue.
get stuck on the other thing?
No, we just
Identify the correct person.
Yes. We acknowledged that we didn't know that, and then you just repeated the quote again.
It's kind of annoying when somebody keeps speeding up on, if you're making a mistake or you aren't.
Well,
getting-
Patrick's got an echo in his. I can never understand what he's saying.
Everyone has an echo right now. You have an echo too. I don't know what is doing that.
I think you can hit echo cancellation on your audio, and that should help you guys out through StreamYard.
Oh, it's selected.
Gotcha.
We are in the rejoin. And the bump. All right, you guys are up.
It's Friday. Why not have a little fun on the show? A little fun, maybe off the beaten path from sports. Been talking a lot about Carolina and Kentucky baseball tonight, and then the Gamecocks for the second straight SEC series going with Brandon Jordan to start things off, but they're sending the closer, Brett Carey, out in game number 2 to switch up the starting rotation. That'll be a big series in Lexington where the Gamecocks haven't won a series since 2009. You got that to look forward to. Patrick's looking forward to the off the beaten path sports, in my opinion. Lacrosse and hockey playoffs going to be starting soon. Then Bill started us this morning with the movie quote from Caddyshack, where it's in our intro. And so that got me thinking, if you could have just one line in a movie, what are you going to take? And man, some of these lines already I never would have thought. Some of them I don't even recognize. The movie, for instance, like Michael V hit me up on Twitter. I put this out on Twitter, and I said my line would be, "Get busy living or get busy dying," from Shawshank Redemption. A little intense, maybe a little dark, but I like how a lot of you are going comedies.
Yeah.
But Michael was the first one to respond. Mike V. He goes with the movie Silverado from 1985. I've never seen it. Danny Glover as Mal says, "I don't want to kill you, and you don't want to be dead." Sounds like a pretty good line. Then it looks like John in the next response on Twitter it looks like Old School to me, where he says, "I've been called the songbird of my generation." Step Brothers. Okay. There's so many other lines from both Step Brothers and Old School that I don't even remember that one. But it's amazing what you do. Like Jimmy D has hit us up with another, probably the most famous one of the most famous movie lines in history. Do or do not, there is no try, from Yoda, right? The Star Wars one, where Damon suggested that I should put out my favorite Star Wars quote, knowing that I wouldn't like it. And he went the exact opposite way. "I'm looking for Ray Finkel and a clean pair of pants," from Ace Ventura. Great. Great. So, Bill, you said your line rotates frequently that you would choose, but what's today's best one line ever from a movie that you're selecting as your one line?
These things typically just pop into my head. Sometimes I'll have a Wolf of Wall Street line. Sometimes it'll be something to do with Tommy Boy, or sometimes it'll have something to do with just any other movie that I might have caught recently. However, for whatever reason, as you asked, the line that popped into my head this morning, and I guess it just has to do with sports, is, "It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him."
That's a great one.
Good one.
That's dodgeball, right? And I can't think of Jason. What's his last name?
Bateman.
Bateman.
Jason Bateman, right?
Bateman, thank you.
As the tremendous color analyst.
Yeah.
Cotton's the play-by-play guy.
Cotton.
All right, Patrick, what are you going with as your one line? If you found a radio acceptable one line.
That's Pepper. Hold up. That's Pepper.
Pepper?
He's Pepper. I think Cotton is the other one. Yeah. Pepper Brooks. Night is the other.
I think family friendly, like one liner. I think I would say from The Hangover. "Not at the table, Carlos."
No.
Anybody that knows that scene, unbelievable scene. It's a little baby where they're sitting by the pool in The Hangover. The Hangover is just probably my Mount Rushmore of comedies are 21 Jump Street, Old School, The Hangover, and Talladega Nights. Nothing Ricky Bobby says I can say.
Right. Yeah. There's some good ones in there.
All right, Jen. So where are you going?
See, and I go even more old school when they're having the conversation to in Smokey the Bandit. I just put it on Twitter. You know, it's basically for the good old American life, for the money, for the glory, for the fun, but mostly for the money.
Nice. Justin mentioned that one as well.
Oh, look at that.
We're learning a lot about people today. We've got Friday being quoted by multiple people already so far. Smokey and the Bandit now has made it. T-Ray is up with Spaceballs, one that we can't.
Oh, yeah.
These are like good quotes, but like some of them you actually use in your life. Like another Hangover quote that I actually use in my life would I'll tell someone you are literally too stupid to insult. Like if someone is just really bothering me, that's what I'll just say.
Justin on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, 803-404-6100. Maybe another one. I think that's one of the more famous quotes that you'll hear every single day or a bunch of times. You're killing me, Smalls, from the Sandlot. Great.
Oh, yeah.
He also says anything from Meet the Parents, Wedding Crashers, and Step Up.
Oh, seriously, right?
Ooh. Jordan, you're my boy blue. It's a great quote.
Yep, classic.
That one used all the time. Still use that one all the time.
David goes with "I'll get plenty of sleep when I'm dead" from Roadhouse.
Yeah.
You can't handle the truth. Steve hits us up with. Got another one on Twitter, and getting some of these as gifts as well. Well done from Hockey Girl, SC Cocky Girl. There's no crying in baseball. Classic one. And then more that we can't. Is this? This is. I don't even know where this is from. This is part of the fun, trying to figure out where some of these lines are from. These are tough on the gifts. I'll be your Huckleberry, a classic one from Tombstone. Bruno hits me up with. How about Cool Hand Luke? Patrick, have you ever seen that one? You're a movie buff. You ever gone back and seen Cool Hand Luke?
Parts of it.
Can't do it.
I mean, I've watched like parts of it. I've never seen the whole thing.
Nobody can eat 50 eggs is what Brendan hit us up with from Cool Hand Luke. Then the Princess Bride, another Twitter addition to the program. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. And Kingpin, how about that? Greg hits us up with another sneaky comedy from back in the day. You're on a gravy train with biscuit wheels.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. I feel like all the movie quotes I would use. Yeah, I feel like all the ones I would use, I'm not allowed to say, like Wolf of Wall Street, Goodfellas, Casino. I'm pretty like it's like watching Casino that comes on. It used to come on USA, and you really couldn't understand any of what was being said because they had to bleep out Joe Pesci's like every fourth word. And you were like, I think he just told that guy he was going to kill him. You know, go get your shine box is a classic to me.
We got Anthony weighing in with your "If you're not first, you're
that's
last."
Goodfellas is go get your shine box is Goodfellas.
And Ethan going with Yippee Ki-Yay from Die Hard that we won't finish there. At least he gave the stars. Well done there. Trying to keep it clean. And classic one lines from movies. If you just had one, some of you have already weighed in with more than one. No, you can only choose one. What are you going with? 803-404-6100 if you'd like to weigh in. You can call or text that number, and then up and rolling on the video streams as well. Sponsored by Buford Lending, by the way. YouTube, Facebook Live, and on Twitter. The station handle at 1075 The Game. It's the early game here on 1075.
The home of the Gamecocks and new head football coach Shane Beamer. 1075 The Game.
Today's an absolute fun to be a head football coach.
Thinking about the floors at my house because we're trying to get it ready and possibly put it on the market. That whole thing now, that's a whole different deal. But it's where I, again, have appreciation for the help we've gotten around our house because the floors are in great shape because we've gotten help from Zero Res, carpet and air duct cleaning. Zero Res been out to my house a couple of different times. Cleaned my carpets, an area for me in the living room, also freshened up the tiles in the kitchen and bathroom, and I know they will do a great job for you as well. What you might not know is that Zero Res is going to do it differently than any other carpet cleaning service. They have a patented powered water system. You can check out all the technological details at ZeroResColumbia.com. They crank the pH up in the water, the whole deal. What's important to me, what I need to know at my house, is there are no harsh chemicals involved in the process. Especially important with our 1-year-old waddling around all over the place, terrorizing things, picking everything up off the floor, trying to put it in his mouth. Hopefully you don't have to deal with that right now, but it can still be important to you to have no harsh chemicals involved in the process. If that's not that important to you, maybe the fact that there's no leftover soap residue involved in the Zero Res carpet cleaning process is important to you. It certainly has kept my carpets cleaner longer, and it will for you as well. And there's a great deal right now too. Zero Res, 3 rooms of carpet clean, $119 plus a free hallway. When you mention me, Tim Hill, check them out at ZeroResColumbia.com. Give them a call at 803-262-4020. That's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
ShepherdsGlass.com. Several accidents out there this morning on this sunny Friday. Busby Road at Highway 321, an injury accident. Also, you'll find one Dutch Fork Road at Roche Metz.
Morning, RL.
Also have a report of a tie-up.
Trey got no clue.
At Augusta Highway.
Welcome to the party.
I-77.
That's actually Home Alone, I'm guessing. Pesci and Home Alone.
Also, you'll find one North Tower Road.
Some of these I have to stay out loud and try to do it as I hear it. Classic. We've gotten another one from Forrest Gump. Was it Die Hard? From the party time. I'm guessing Big Lebowski there, Chavo. Just a guess. Nice. Top Gun, Hope. Well done. Chavo, help me out with that one. That's maybe this is the best part of doing this. Just putting a line out there and then having to guess the movie. Yep, James, classic. Maybe we narrow it down to sports movies coming up soon.
Give it a 10. Give it a 10.
Craig, how many is that for you now? At least 2. Hi, Felicia. I mean, that's not even a movie. Is that Varsity Blues? 10.
Yeah.
He throws the guy out of the window. It lands on the window of the cop car. Welcome to the party, pal. Got it. Well done, Trey. Dumb and Dumber quote just got me. Love it. Someone just wrote in sea turtles. Supposed to be able to translate that.
All right, coming back in. We're going to have just about 30 seconds.
Gotcha.
Guys are up.
Fun for multiple reasons as the Animal House music plays in the background. One-liners from movies. We've gotten a lot of classic ones on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, like I'll Be Back from Tiger Bob. Richard says, here's looking at you, kid. And then we've gotten some random ones like Craig J says, I don't even remember the movie, but it's a classic John Wayne Western. Life's tough, son. Even tougher. You're stupid. Stuff. Patrick, keeping it clean. I'm proud of you so far. Even though
So
you don't
far.
want to.
Another hour to
Our
go.
video stream and the commercial break will be extra entertaining. Coming.
Oh, nice. That's great. That's great. Just fan freaking tastic.
We'll put Jen on mute there. John Wayne, Big Jake, nice. Chuck, I'm a huge fan of the movie White Men Can't Jump. I have no idea when this is said in that movie. By who? I have no clue there.
I think westerns might be my least favorite genre.
Trey, great one. Shoot your eye. Hello to my little friend has popped up. Chavo, no clue. Like the Dragnet line, my hat was in that car. Rubric. Banging your pots again? Rotten scoundrels? Wow. Great one. Another great one from Dodgeball. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Yeah, we got a couple of those.
We're going to need a bigger boat. I recognize the line, but I can't place it. What you got?
Jaws.
Jaws?
Yeah. When they realized that this is no ordinary great white shark.
Thank you, Chuck, for the explanation there. Well, nope, she knew the Jaws line.
Jaws does not really hold up, but I do enjoy that movie. I'm actually surprised there hasn't been a remake.
What's that?
Surprised they haven't remade Jaws because it doesn't really hold up.
No, I think it does. You don't think so?
I mean, the shark looks ridiculous whenever it's actually on the screen.
Yeah, but that is very rarely, right? That's the whole point of.
Pretty rare. Pretty rare.
That's the whole reason why that movie has held up better than others is that they don't show the shark; they just kind of show the perspective of it and play the music, right? And I think they wanted to; they just could never get it right. If I've heard correctly on that.
I read a story recently. I'm still echoing. Maybe I should turn the echo cancellation off to see if that does anything. Any different? Oh.
You sound the same to me. I don't get an echo.
Oh. I get an echo every time. I actually don't hear it now. Sounds the same to you?
Interesting. Yep.
Okay.
Except now I can hear me echoing in yours.
Huh.
You can't hear it. That's weird.
Could it be a Bill's?
I got Bill's off now, but I still hear myself from Patrick.
Maybe we need our echo cancellations off because I just turned mine off and it made everything better weirdly.
That is weird.
Yeah, I read an article that now that we have drones and people fly drones around, we've realized that like there are so many more great white sharks within like several feet of us swimming, especially in California, than we would have ever guessed. Like there's so many pictures of people swimming like 10 feet from a great white shark that just doesn't bother us. So actually it's like good news and bad news. The bad news is that they're everywhere, and the good news is that they don't attack as frequently as we would expect. Like normally they just leave you alone.
Probably not in danger.
Yeah. some crazy pictures of people just right next to them, though.
Yep. I've seen those. Yeah, Patrick, I think we can turn that thing back on for everybody else. Because now everyone else.
Well, Bill was hearing my echo. He said that he heard. Well, now I don't hear it either. I don't know.
Good. So you're good now?
I guess so. But every time we get off the air and start talking, it starts out with an echo. I just don't know what the deal is.
Weird. Hope, I think we're trying to define why it's a classic. Bill, everything okay over there?
Stomach's a little messed up this morning, but I'm all right.
You look great.
Thank you. I don't know if it's the cold brew or I don't know what it was. Of course, I woke up before I even had coffee. My stomach didn't. I don't know if it was something I ate last night. I had some like bang bang shrimp. We got bang bang shrimp wrap and some coleslaw. And I don't know if that's kind of set me back.
Do you have just a regular coffee maker? Like, do you make a pot every morning? Is that what you do?
This is, yeah, I make a pot, but this is the stuff that you buy from like the store that's in the
I know.
Starbucks. This is different. I've gotten into it a little bit.
Or in the intro.
I'll just make iced coffee in my house, and you just make the pot and just pour it into a cup of ice.
Pour in a cup of ice, yeah. That makes sense.
Like Ezra.
Is this a new thing? Is this where Patrick is showing his 25-year-oldness? I'm guessing there are not a lot of 25-year-olds out there who love the Westerns as we come into country music here in hour number 3. You said it was at the bottom of your list of genres, Patrick?
Yeah, I don't love Western movies in general. I think my favorite is probably 3:10 to Yuma. That's a really good one, but in general, I'm just not that into the genre.
Well, you've gotten like the remakes. I feel like my generation, the remake was Young Guns, but I feel like that was about it. Tombstone, I guess you could throw in there too.
Well, but your Huckleberry, good one.
Yeah, it's a great one. Yeah, it has come up today. We're asking you just favorite one-liners from movies. If you just had one that you could take, which one would you take? Learning a lot about people, getting a lot of different movies in here I never thought we would see. Finally, Andy coming up with one that I thought would come up and very quickly. Go ahead, Make My Day. Make My Day, Punk, the classic one from Clint Eastwood. If we're going with the Western theme, I realized that wasn't when he was playing in a Western there, but one that popped in my head immediately. Some classics like you would expect. The Sandlot line of Killing Me Smalls, and then other classic ones. Forrest Gump has come up several times. It's probably the most popular movie so far with the one-liners, and then a lot of comedy one-liners too, I think. That's what I would have guessed with our crowd this morning, helping us get in a good mood headed into the weekend. I get it. If you tuned in, you're looking for sports updates. Been talking a lot about Carolina and Kentucky tonight in a big series for the Gamecock baseball team, sitting 12-12 overall, 6 SEC games left. Knowing that Carolina hasn't won a series in Lexington at Kentucky since 2009. It's been a while. It's not an easy place for them to win. We saw it earlier this season, though Georgia hadn't been an easy place to win either. And this team took 2 out of 3 for the first time since 2010. I believe it was earlier this year. But Gamecocks trending in the wrong direction after having won 4 straight SEC series. Now they've dropped 3 in a row, trying to end that streak tonight. Or this weekend, I should say. And tonight, I think will go a long way because, Bill, it's been incredible, the run that Carolina's been on. Just the fact that they won those 4 SEC series with only winning the first game in one of them, and they've only won 1 SEC series opener all season long, I think is part of the frustration that Gamecock fans have with this team and the program right now. Because the program is known for being one of the best in the country. But when your team can't beat the other team's best pitcher. And we've heard Mark Kingston say that's the last step for this team. Got to play your best baseball against the best competition and win those games. Well, that's a big issue, right? And nobody's going to put Kentucky at the top of that list, especially in the SEC or the country right now. And tonight's frontline starter isn't one of the best. It's very similar numbers, both starters tonight for Carolina and Kentucky, and the Gamecocks with the advantage from an ERA standpoint, with Brandon Jordan being about a full point lower than Kentucky's guys. Tonight is the night that you got to turn that trend around, get a big win, and get things moving in a positive direction if you're going to do that here down the stretch. What about you, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, it's momentum, and you're right. And you look at it right now, South Carolina has dropped, 3, beat Florida, beat North Florida, so that'd be they 3 of 4, lost 2 more. That would be lost 5 of 6, 5 of 7, counting the Mississippi State. So they've lost 6 of their last 8 total. I mean, let's just go back to the Mississippi series where you got swept. 6 of your last 8, and we've talked
7 of 9.
Is it 7 of 9? So yeah, I mean, so again, is it 7 of 9?
So you had 3 to Ole Miss, 2 to Mississippi State, and then you might be right, just 1 to Clemson there. Yeah, that
right.
It's better than mine on this.
So, but anyway, so I say that, but and I've talked about this a lot during the season. We saw that winning the first 11, losing the next 6, so forth, so on. It feels like baseball is just one of those sports where you get on a roll, good or bad, and things can snowball for you. And South Carolina right now, they're snowballing in the wrong direction. It's not good. And so, with all that being said, I think that it's a massive series from a confidence standpoint, from trying to get your guys to believe in themselves, to feel to have the good vibes going into postseason play. That's where we're at. 7 games before the SEC tournament, and then hopefully the NCAA tournament. So I'm with you on that.
Patrick, I know you're pumped up about other things outside of Carolina baseball this weekend, lacrosse, hockey, the whole thing. Does this hockey season feel that much different for you as the playoffs are about to begin just because of the different format?
Oh yeah, the hockey season feels so much different because I've only seen the teams in the Capitals Conference. Really, I mostly just watch Capitals games, and normally I can get a feel for other teams. Like the best team in hockey is the Colorado Avalanche. They won the President's Trophy. I've hardly seen them play at all because you're only playing divisional opponents. So I mean, I've only basically seen Philadelphia, Boston, New Jersey, Buffalo, Pittsburgh all year long, and I'm very sick of it. So I'm excited to get this series over with, and I hope we can beat the Bruins, but I'm ready to play other teams. So yeah, it's been a wild season. Only playing divisional opponents stinks.
From the college football standpoint, yesterday was kind of wild for 2 different things. An Ohio State investigation turned up that there's a masseuse that is, I guess, in trouble. It is even hard for me to put this into words, that a masseuse has been taking advantage of Ohio State football players and then requiring them to pay extra money or to pay money for her services and taking advantage of them. That's how I'm going to put that. And then the Pac-12 hires its commissioner from the MGM Resorts, the president of entertainment and sports for MGM Resorts International, now the new Pac-12 commissioner. Is that one of the toughest jobs in sports? Right? One of the toughest jobs out there, Bill? The Pac-12 commissioner?
I don't feel. I mean, I guess I just don't understand it because I don't feel like it should be, right? I mean, I guess the problem is you're trying to keep up with the Jimmies and the Joes, which in this case would be the SEC and the Big Ten, and you're trying to bring your conference the revenue from the television cycle that you want. But I don't know how those negotiations go, right? I mean, do you guys think it would be that hard? I mean, I know it would be hard to get the kind of money that the SEC and the Big Ten got. I'm not saying, you should be able to just go out and throw out Arizona State, Utah, and say, hey, pay us boatloads of money. We got great football here. But you would think that the concept of building a network, I mean, the Pac-12 network has been an absolute disaster. They don't have a great television deal. I would assume Fox Sports 1. I don't know how long Fox Sports 1 has their rights. ESPN's got some rights to them. I don't know. It feels like the job should be easier. Am I wrong with that? Do you guys like it? It feels like right now, college football should be a little bit easier for them to go out and get the money necessary to help build their schools.
Well, I just read a quote from the Oregon president talking about this guy that said he knows what he knows, but more importantly, he knows what he doesn't know. So apparently everyone just hated Larry Scott because he would just not listen to anyone's advice and just make awful decisions. So if anything, you're surrounded by very smart people all over the place. And it seems like Larry Scott just completely ignored the advice of all of them. So if this guy just knows, like, that's where he went wrong, I can't imagine it'd be that difficult to just use the advice of your peers when you're kind of out of your comfort zone in this job.
To me, this is another example, and we talked about it a lot yesterday after Bob Caslin resigned as USC president. He was coming in after a very popular guy in Harris Pastides. We've seen several different examples, right? The coach after Steve Spurrier, the coach after Ray Tanner here at the University of South Carolina. Probably the one I feel the most sorry for is the coach that will follow Dawn Staley. Good luck, right? You never want to be in that position, or those positions are unenviable. I asked Chad Holbrook that question at his introductory press conference, right? How do you feel about taking over for the guy? And the cliche is you never want to take over for the guy. You want to be the guy after the guy. You want to be the guy who took over for the guy. You know what I'm saying. You want to be the second one. You don't want to be the first one in there. I feel like from the Pac-12 commissioner standpoint, this is actually where this MGM guy, who I can't quite pronounce his name, or I'm afraid I get it incorrect, George Kliavkoff, something like that, where he's in a good spot. Larry Scott had become a bit of a joke in the college athletics world. Feel like you can't go much further south than that, or maybe those Pac-12 football teams you're talking about, Bill, they can't be much more irrelevant when it comes to college football playoff time here in the next few years. You wouldn't think, with Southern Cal and Oregon being the programs that they have been through the years and just not having been at that championship level. And why would we give the Pac-12 conference commissioner the credit for that? I don't know, but that's just seems to be how it kind of works in college athletics right now. If has a good year, we'll say, man, that guy, now the Pac-12 is becoming more relevant.
And look, it was such a bad look. You guys agree with this? I mean, look, the Pac-12 network has been a disaster. The television deals are not particularly great. But the way that it looked like, as you mentioned, I think you referred to the Pac-12 as the Big Ten's little puppy. The way the Pac-12 just followed the Big Ten last year, I mean, that was just brutal, right? I mean, just absolutely brutal.
Well, the Big Ten fumbled that thing too, though.
Right.
It wasn't just
but you know what?
The Big Ten almost looked like the dumbest conference of anybody.
But you can't say the conference leading the way is dumber than the one following, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem with the Pac-12 there. Not only did the Big Ten screw it up, and then the Pac-12 said, yeah, let's follow those guys. You picked the wrong leader to follow there. And
I just
none of their own decisions and just following blindly the conference that was making all the wrong.
Well, and I'll go back here. On top of what you guys are saying, the other portion of this that looks so bad is that for the Pac-12, hey, at least the Big Ten had schools that you kind of argued. I mean, Ohio State's in the college football playoff. Michigan's entertaining with Jim Harbaugh. Penn State with James Franklin. Maybe it's because maybe this is East Coast bias. Maybe that's what it is. But at least the Big Ten's putting out football that we're kind of into watching. Patrick and I forget, Patrick, that you and I were doing a show together early on, and I forget exactly how we were doing the show or what it was, but we were talking about like the Big Ten like noon game. How it's never really a huge game. It's like, the
big noon kickoff.
Yeah. It's like Indiana and Rutgers. Who cares? And it's like this small. It's like the salad that they bring you at dinner that has no dressing and like 3 croutons on it, and like some onions that were cut that are like 40. But you kind of snack on it before the actual meal comes. And that's like the Big Ten at least has some cachet, because you guys are right. Big Ten looked awful last year. Hey, we're not going to play. Nebraska's angry at us. We're going to be sued. Players are upset. Parents are now gathering outside the building. They looked awful. And yet, Big Ten's breaking in tons of money. They're putting a team in the college football playoff. Big Ten goes into 2021 with all of us going, yeah, still a really good conference. Nothing wrong with them. Pac-12, you're looking at out there going, hey, you guys a part of this thing, or should we make an offer to the AAC? I don't know. What are you guys exactly doing out there on the Pac-12?
I did see this guy. One of the first things he said is that we're in favor of expanding the college football playoff. So he knows that for sure. And some of his quotes are pretty spot on. I mean, he's probably saying what every Pac-12 fan wants to hear. He said, we know where the bread's butter. We're focused on the revenue sports and men's basketball and football. And he said, the Pac-12 network, we definitely need to fix that. There's a way to do it through structuring, but we have to get it on every place and every platform. Our fans want to consume that content. And it is difficult. Like, you compare just me not having cable and being able to pop on the ESPN app and find a South Carolina game in 5 seconds on the ESPN app versus trying to track down a Pac-12 game and the subscription, it's just, their network is horrible. And TV, that's the biggest thing. It's so bad.
Let's use, and this is a perfect example, and I know it's not football. Football is king, and I get that. The other night, I want to go watch South Carolina Clemson on television. So, I want to watch them. I got the ESPN app on my smart television. I'm able to flip on, go to the ESPN app, and on the ACC Network Plus, I'm able to find Clemson, South Carolina. Now, this doesn't mean I'm going to go out of my way to flip on the ESPN app and watch Oregon, Southern Cal baseball. But you have that option. There are sports junkies. Last night or 2 nights ago, Wednesday night, I was sitting here, felt like watching a little baseball. I think I was watching like the Twins and the White Sox. I don't know how I came to watching the Twins and the White Sox. There's a game that if you'd have told me 5 years ago, yeah, you're going to be sitting there on Wednesday night watching Twins White Sox, I'd have thought you were crazy. But there I was watching Twins White Sox. You don't even have the option to go find, and again, use whatever sport you want. Softball, gymnastics. I mean, the SEC's broadcasting right now the SEC tournament in softball.
Right.
I'm not. It's not all about football. You got to find a way to generate for your other sports, and this is where the Pac-12 is really lagging.
Well, but what you're talking about, Patrick, the quotes that you're hearing from the new Pac-12 commissioner, that's soft toss, right? That's serving it up on a silver platter. He's got a great opportunity to come in and look a lot better than the previous one because the previous one kind of screwed it up. So my question to you when we come back, and what I want to talk about here, maybe the bulk of hour number 3, and as we continue to pepper some of these great one-liners in, and to me, it's the variety of movies that's the surprise in all of this. And feel free to keep hitting us up at 803-404-6100 via text or on the live video stream as well. But is Shane Beamer now that guy for South Carolina football after 16 combined losses for Will Muschamp? I'm not convinced he is because of where the program got to, but also whatever happens from here on out, you got to assume it's going to be better than 2-8. And I think there are some specific criteria set up for Shane Beamer to succeed in a lot of ways. And it starts here in 17 days? Coming up on June 1st, when the umbrella is, or the veil is lifted from the NCAA and from recruiting, and the restrictions open up. And not only do you get to have recruits on campus and official visits, but you also get to open camps back up and get it going from that standpoint. So we'll discuss that as we continue to roll on this morning. Love to hear from you. Like I mentioned, 803-404-6100 is the number. It's the early game here on 107.5.
All right, we got through that cold snap of weather there. It started to heat back up. Now is the time. It's Friday. You're going to work right now. You're probably ready to come home. I bet you're ready to grill out poolside. The kids are probably ready to jump in the pool this weekend. My question to you is the pool clean? Or are you going to spend your Saturday morning going out there, going to the pool store, buying the chemicals, doing everything necessary to get the pool ready? Then you're tired. You don't feel like grilling the chicken or the steaks or whatever it is this weekend. You just want to lay down and take a nap. Don't do that. Use the professionals. Corley Pool Solutions. 803-445-8109. Flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. Much cheaper than actually having to go to the pool store yourself, especially with the way gas is right now. Much cheaper than going to the pool store yourself, having to get the chemicals, go back. Nope. Use the experts, a pool guru, as you may think of him, Tracy Corley and his team. Been around for 20 years. Give them a phone call today. 803-445-8109. Let the professionals take care of your pool. Have it ready to go for you and the kids this weekend. Don't miss a beat. Call him right now. 821. He is waiting on your phone call. 803-445-8109. That is Corley Pool Solutions.
Attaboy.
What?
Nice work. Much better all the time.
Getting there. Getting there.
Oh no, Alan. Captain 6.
Hey, Jen. Is Jen around?
She's doing traffic right now.
Okay. The people that guy Corley Tracy, they just asked for a copy of that cut. I'll just go when the show ends if she can pull it.
Got it. See how effective those shorter endorsements can be.
Yeah, he's been harassing me all morning.
Bill just loves his clients.
We got to take care of our salespeople. We're down to we gotta take care of them, make them happy. I get harassed by one of our sales guys all the time. He wants me to change my name right here on the bottom to Dollar Bill. Yeah, I didn't respond to it.
That's funny.
Jen Bill was saying that he needs that Corley Pools endorsement that he just did. If you could ship that to him, email it to him.
Yeah, just pull that cut and just wait. I think you got to wait if you can pull it at 9 o'clock.
The quality maybe not be as quite as strong, but I can also pull it from the air signal instead of the programming. Pull it from the air, and that's
okay. Whatever, just send it to me. They'll like that.
They aren't paying for quality; they're paying for you.
Yeah, that's what they're paying for me. Oh, 5'7" of me.
Did you get taller?
Shorter. Originally I was 5'9", then I started working with you, and the way you beat me down, I've dropped 2 inches.
Okay.
Just
constant
put downs, constant. Now I walk around just slumped, feeling bad all day.
Oh, poor thing. Hold on, I gotta get a tissue.
You know, it takes a lot less energy to be happy, to be nice to people than it does to come up with mean things to say.
No, it rolls off the tongue pretty easily. Doesn't take a lot of work.
You're number one. You're number one.
Bill, did you bet against the Bruins in the playoffs last year?
Did we? I don't know. I think we did. Yeah, I think we did. I think Alan and I don't know.
No, that's how Bill lost the bet and is supposed to take shots against the.
Oh, he bet against the Bruins.
Yeah, against the Hurricanes, and that's how he was supposed to take shots.
Well, the Caps did beat the Bruins in the round robin last year, and they did beat the Bruins in the last playoff series, but that was almost 10 years ago.
Attaboy, Mark. Much appreciated. Checks in the mail.
The Bruins are favored, but the Caps were better this year, so I don't know how that works. Vegas just loves the Bruins.
At least she gave us an LOL there, Hope. Atta girl.
I like how when people just have enough of what we're talking about, they just decide to text in with whatever. Just
what do we get here?
Scott?
It's not a bad text. It's just.
No, I see where he got there because I mentioned Beamer and where he is.
Oh, okay. All right. I just.
You guys help me out with these movies. Wait till Otis sees us. He loves us.
That's a great one. How do you not know that one?
That Animal House?
Yes. That's where they
That's the
pull up.
third one from Animal House.
Animal House is a winner.
Yeah.
Even though we don't have a food king, occasionally if I'm going to the store, I just walk through the house and start yelling, "Food king, food king, food king, food king, food king."
And then they think you're quoting these lines from Austin Powers.
You haven't even gotten the one that I've heard the most. Matt Berry used to love that one. Can we dance with the old dates? I think.
Yeah, that's the next. That's almost the next line.
Right.
When they're in
I want you to be nice until it's time not to be nice.
I do like Paul's. I forgot about that one. I forgot Eugene Levy was the car salesman to Chevy Chase. You think you hate it now? Wait till you drive it.
That's a good one. There's a lot of lines he delivers that. Damn. It's definitely in the delivery. All right, about to head back in.
All right, now we've got the third line from Godfather in. Forrest Gump's had about 3 or 4 lines, I think, dropped. Mom, meatloaf. Great one. Old school.
Yeah.
Others both been on there a few times. What we have here is a failure to communicate. Nice. That is what old movie? Forget. I want to say that's. You got it, Jen. Tip of the tongue.
Cool Hand Luke.
No.
I thought it was Cool Hand Luke. You're saying it's not? What'd you say, Jen?
Thinking the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe.
You guys are up.
If you guys checked out the live video stream, you would see our conversation sometimes gets interrupted by our radio show. Oh, yeah, we got to back doing a lot of one-liners from movies. They're flowing. They're just flooding in here. Good stuff. Animal House, Dumb and Dumber, Godfather, Forrest Gump, and Old School. Several of the movies with multiple lines. Animal House and Godfather with 3 lines mentioned. So the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. That's one that you like to throw out there often on the show, Bill. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. And then line about Otis loves us as well. Where's Otis? Who loves us? Then Dumb and Dumber has been brought up a couple of times about putting out the vibe by the bar. And then so you're saying there's a chance. The 3 lines in The Godfather that have popped up. Hate the gun, leave the cannoli. Never go against the family. And keep your friends close. Keep your enemies.
Other way around.
What did I say?
Take the cannoli.
Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Thank you for fact checking me there, Patrick.
Can't leave the cannoli.
Yeah, can't leave the cannoli, no doubt. And then Forrest Gump has popped up a couple of times. Somebody loved the Bubba Gump shrimp lines. Obviously, there's a Lieutenant Dan in there. I guess,
if someone can name every type of shrimp, every way to serve a shrimp that Bubba gives you in Forrest Gump, that's what I want to hear.
That would be frighteningly impressive, right?
That would be incredible.
I'd be sad.
I could do it at one time in my life. You guys ever heard of Sporkle?
No.
It's a fun website. You just take like quizzes and it just asks you like name whatever. And there's one of the quizzes that I always tried to do was all the ways you can prepare shrimp from Forrest Gump.
Nice.
There's like 20 or something that he rolls through.
The quiz that we will end the show. I'll just throw out some of these lines, rapid fire, and you guys will get to name the movie. We'll do that toward the end of the show. But I wanted to get right back into what I had mentioned going into the break. So Pac-12 commissioner right now, naming the new one as the president of entertainment and sports from MGM yesterday. I think he's got a pretty easy job because the last guy wasn't impressive. Let's put it that way. Larry Scott was a bit of the whipping boy in college sports, but certainly from a Power 5. So I think he's got a great chance to come in and be highly thought of really quickly. Is Shane Beamer in that same spot, Bill? I'll ask you. With 16 combined losses in the last 2 years, I think he's set up a lot better than Lou Holtz was going into that first season where Brad Scott company were coming of a 1-10 season, and Lou Holtz parlayed that into an 0-11. But then we saw it quickly turned around after that. I guess the fair way to ask this question is, what kind of position do you feel like Shane Beamer is in relative to some other jobs where clearly it was a situation where the guy coming in had a chance to immediately turn things around and be seen of as a bit of a quick fix and a bit of a hero in that standpoint? What do you got?
I feel like what Shane Beamer is inheriting is similar to what Steve Spurrier inherited. There were some nice pieces to Steve Spurrier's puzzle. He had a quality quarterback in Blake Mitchell. He had what we would discover was a high quality wide receiver in Sidney Rice. He had some good, not great defensive players that he was able to build upon. He had a manageable schedule that certainly had some difficult teams on it, but also had some winnable games. I compare this to a lot of what Steve Spurrier walked into. There are pieces on this football team. I'm not, whether I'm being unrealistic or whether I'm being biased or a homer, I'm not saying that this is an 8 or 9 win team. That would be wild if they did that. But what I do think is that there's more than enough talent to compete. You're 3 games this year. There's 3 games that will circle that I think tell us where South Carolina's at. And 2 of them, unfortunately, are on the road. But it's Kentucky, it's Tennessee, and it's Missouri. All right? Other than that, you should win 4. You should beat Troy. You should beat Eastern Illinois. You should beat East Carolina. And you should beat Vanderbilt.
You beat Auburn last year?
Yeah, they also beat Georgia 2 years ago.
Auburn's not Georgia.
Auburn's not Georgia. It's a good point. And it's tough, but I'm still going to Auburn talent-wise.
They're closer to Georgia than South Carolina.
Yeah, Auburn talent-wise is better than South Carolina. They're just better. The talent at Tennessee, Missouri, and Kentucky, if it's better, and it may be, it's only slightly. It's only slightly. Auburn's talent is better than South Carolina's. So you put Auburn in that, but I would put Auburn in the same category there with Florida, with A&M, with Georgia, with Clemson, and with Texas A&M. Did I already say Texas? I'm trying to think. Who's my 5th here that I'm leaving out?
Large tier, though.
Huh?
It's a large tier.
One more time, that
team, but that's
clearly talented, more talented teams that South Carolina is going to play this year. Clemson, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, and you were thinking one more?
A&M.
Texas A&M.
Florida, Georgia. Anyway, but all I'm saying is, there's 4 that I look at and you say, man, you can't lose those 4. There's 5 and I put Auburn in there. I'm still going to put Auburn in there. There's 5 in there. There's 4 definites. There's 4 definites on the road at A&M, Clemson, on the road at Georgia. I'm not a huge Florida fan this year, even though, Tim, you missed the conversation Patrick and I had last Friday on Heath's show about Patrick. I forget which mock draft it was that had Emory Jones.
There's actually been multiple. There's actually a lot of buzz around Emory Jones.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm not crazy about Florida, but I don't care to go down that path. But Florida's
we know
there.
We know.
You got 4
I heard
there.
that conversation last year and the year before.
Yeah, so everybody
you got
knows
4 there. You got 4 there with those that you just. I think you instantly go, okay, those are losses. If we pulled a massive upset, that's awesome. But 4 losses. Then you got 4 on the flip side that you better win. And then I'm going to push Auburn more to the loss category, and the other 3 are the toss-up games. And I can kind of compare that to where Steve Spurrier's first year was. Auburn was really good. I think Auburn was – I'd have to go back and look and see if it shows me the exact rankings. But I think Auburn was a top 15 team when South Carolina went down there and got their doors blown off 48-7. Georgia, I believe, was top 10. Florida, I think, was actually South Carolina beat Florida that year. They beat Tennessee that year. But I don't know if you guys agree with me. Maybe you don't. But that's where I see it, Tim, very comparable to Steve Spurrier's first year. There are holes that have to be fixed, but there are good players on that roster as well.
But the difference is, to me, that I'd say in the 90 percentile, Gamecock fans are ready to move on from Will Muschamp in a massive way. I don't think the end of the Lou Holtz era was great, but I don't think the fan base was in nearly the same type of mood. But they appreciated what Lou Holtz had done. I don't think anybody appreciates what Will Muschamp did at South Carolina.
You know what? That's yes, to an extent, but that's also kind of revisionist history because, man, those last 2 years under Holtz, they lost the 5 games and got the 03 season, lost the 5 games and just got annihilated. Charlie Whitehurst, I think, is still throwing touchdowns in Williams-Brice and beat him 63-17. And then, even though you knew he was on the way out the door, the absolutely embarrassing brawl that's basically South Carolina's fault for going and meeting Clemson at the Hill, like the absolutely embarrassing brawl to end that season. I understand what you're saying, but I also think that the goodwill that Lou Holtz had built from the 2 Outback Bowls had waned pretty quickly there, the way those last 2 seasons had gone. There were some ugly losses there at the end of the Holtz era. I think sitting there in the stands for the Arkansas game and South Carolina got blown out like 23-0, wasn't even really competitive. There was some bad losses there. I know they got back to 6-5 and would have gone to a bowl had it not been for the brawl. But I'm just going back. Spurrier's opening year, at the time teams were playing. I didn't realize this, by the way. Florida was number 12. Tim, I remember them winning the game. I didn't realize Florida was ranked 12th that year when Spurrier beat them. But Florida was 12. Tennessee was ranked 23rd when South Carolina beat them. And Georgia was number 9 when they lost to them. Alabama obviously steamrolled South Carolina. Auburn steamrolled South Carolina. And then the Gamecocks got hot. And they won winnable games against Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Arkansas had Darren McFadden that year. If anybody remembers that, there was a late stop there on McFadden. On a run play. I think it was like 4th and 3 that South Carolina was able to stop him, and they were able to win that game. So, I think that team had a better quarterback in Blake Mitchell. You go back, the running backs that year, by the way, there was one game, the Clemson loss. The Clemson loss 13-9 that South Carolina had a guy run for 100 yards in a game. Mike Davis ran for 111 against Clemson. Other than that, nobody ran. Mike Davis never ran for more than 89 yards. He was the high rusher all year. They didn't have the running backs they had. Now, they had Sidney Rice.
But that was the year Corey Boyd was suspended, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Is that right?
Yep. So, I think, to me, that year and this year are comparable. It was an 11-game season that year. South Carolina pulled those 2 upsets on the road at Tennessee against Florida. Now you add the 12th game, but you also add an extra. By the way, they played Troy that year, and South Carolina plays Troy this year. Kind of a weird thing there. But, the bottom line to me is this year reminds me a lot of that year.
Okay. But I'll go back to the original question. Is Shane Beamer in position to take this program back to where it was relatively quickly, and is he set up for success?
No. Well, no, you said back to where. What is back to where it was? 10 and 11 wins and competing for. And you said relatively.
Let's just say, let's go 3rd in the East, right?
Yeah,
3rd in the East.
I don't think. I think Kentucky is stable, but I don't think there's a reason Kentucky should ever out-recruit South Carolina. I think with good coaching, South Carolina can overcome Kentucky, but it's going to come down to coaching. Missouri's interesting. I don't really care for his demeanor. But I feel like the up-and-coming coach, maybe he has a bad year. Maybe he's about to get the Gunner jinx put on him. So write this one down. But I feel like Eli Drinkwitz is lining himself up for a bigger job somewhere, whether he wants to come back to, say, North Carolina, like North Carolina State, if Dave Doran has an issue and they want to break part ways with him. Maybe he'd want to go to Virginia Tech. Maybe he sees that as a job. Maybe he'd want to go stay in the Big 12 if a job opened up over there. But I like Eli Drinkwitz, but Missouri is still a very tough job because of the recruiting footprint. who you're
He
going to
doesn't
go
seem
against.
charismatic enough to be able to recruit to a school like Missouri. Like he's
Does or
just kind of
doesn't?
got that like offensive like mastermind kind of persona, but like doesn't seem very likable.
Yeah, and then the bottom line is Tennessee. Does anybody want to even take a get? Like we're trying to figure out South Carolina. I feel like the same conversation is being had in Knoxville. Like I don't know. What do we expect of Josh Heupel?
Yeah, except they got the looming NCAA issues.
Well, that too.
As a big star.
So
asterisk.
Yeah. To answer your question, yes, I do think he's set up to get back to, let's say, 8 wins. 8 wins. Because, again, the people who say 5, the Scott weighed in and said 5 wins. Well, that all you're telling me then is that they're going to win the 4th and that you only think they're going to win 1 out of 2 against Kentucky, Missouri, and Tennessee. And that's possible. It's certainly possible.
That's not even that negative, I don't think.
Really?
Right. I mean,
that's not even that negative of a take. That's still a game over their win total for Vegas.
That would be a game less than they've won combined the last 2 years.
Well, there is that.
Think of it that way.
If you say it's a 2-win team or a 3-win team, then yeah, you're being negative. But 5 is, I think, a very much a realist.
Realistic. Okay.
Yeah.
Monty hits us up, Cool Care Heating and Air text line. My hope for Gamecock football, not necessarily to see better recruiting. I want to see better player development. I think Muschamp could recruit, but didn't know what to do with him when he got him. Player development, to me, is more important than recruiting. And, Bill, that goes to my point, I think. From a fan standpoint, I think Shane Beamer is much more set up for success than certainly Will Muschamp, whoever took over for Steve Spurrier. But I'd say even than Steve Spurrier was, just because Spurrier also had to live up to his Florida reputation and the national championship reputation that came with him and all that success in the SEC. Shane Beamer has question marks beside his name as a head coach. Now, he's got the Frank Beamer legacy there to live up to a certain extent, but he has the advantage of being able to be immediately compared to Will Muschamp at South Carolina, as opposed to what Will Muschamp came into, immediately being compared to Steve Spurrier, or even Spurrier being compared to Lou Holtz, because it's easier to also have revisionist history and not remember what a massive accomplishment back-to-back Outback Bowl wins was at the time in 2000 and 2001.
Yeah.
The program just was 2 years before.
Well, and, you talk about the comparison. Yeah, the bar has been lowered. That's a good thing. I mean, it's not a good thing, but it's a good thing for Shane Beamer. He rattles off 3 straight bowl trips. They don't have to be great bowl trips. Birmingham, Independence, and a Belk Bowl. People will be thrilled, right? I mean, I shouldn't say thrilled. We're not. Yeah. But people are going to be pretty happy.
That's not the right word. Pleased. How about pleased? Satisfied. Maybe satisfied is the right
Satisfied,
word.
Yeah. I mean, you throw in
to a certain degree.
You throw in an upset here, an upset there. I mean, I think you're right. Shane Beamer steps into a great situation right now where people have been so beaten down that, 6-7 wins this year. People are going to be ecstatic this year. Maybe you get the 7 next year. You go to a bowl. I don't know, man. I like it.
6-7 wins would be huge. I just think this honeymoon phase is going to end pretty quickly if you barely beat East Carolina, then get the doors blown off by Georgia.
Yeah, no, that I agree with.
By week 4, things could be ugly, and people aren't going to be talking about how the culture is phenomenal if you get beat up by Kentucky on their own field.
I still think that Kentucky game is the one that everybody, fair or unfair, will be the judgment for Shane Beamer.
And it's going to come early.
Huh?
Early, right. Too.
He says 4. Yeah, it's game 4. It's not even at the end of September. And you're exactly right, Patrick. You go out and you get beat 24-7. It's ugly. Kentucky Mark Stoops just outcoaches South Carolina again. And I'm totally with you on that. That's where things change. People can accept, even if they barely beat East Carolina, I think people will kind of deal with it. Then you get your doors blown off by Georgia. Then you lose to Kentucky. That's where on that Monday
people will be talking about how happy they are to have a coach that wanted this job.
Yeah, but you can't. Again, I'll say this: that if you say that, look, South Carolina's had plenty of guys, not as many as other schools, obviously, but they've had guys drafted the last few years, and they've had first rounders. Yeah, if you say that they have no talent, then to me, and it's fine if you want to say I don't know what I'm talking about. I think you have zero clue what you're talking about. If you have a
Oh,
1,000
don't let the texting trolls get to you.
No,
Bill. Only one guy
it's
said
not, Tim. It's not just multiple text messages. I mean, granted, you got one person who never knows what he's talking about and clearly doesn't understand sports at all. But the bottom line is, you have like there are players on that roster that should be able to compete with, again, the middle tier teams. We're not talking about A&M and Georgia and the actual good teams. You're talking about the middle tier teams here that are the swing games. And that Kentucky game, Patrick, that you just pointed out is the one that I'm with you. They lose that. Oh boy. That's where the honeymoon phase all of a sudden I think changes.
Yeah. Rapid fire one-liners from movies. It's coming up next in the dramatic conclusion of the show. Story of the day that USC Beaufort has been invited to the NAIA Regional Baseball Tournament in Lakeland, Florida as a 4 seed.
How about that?
Ends up. It's the early game. It's 107.5.
Summer is on the way. You've probably been around a Midland summer. It's uncomfortable, quite frankly. It's hot. It's humid. You need your air conditioner working. Don't wait around until it's hot and humid and your air conditioner isn't working and then you feel really bad. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Roy and Dana Finley, fantastic people, will treat you like family. They came out. They sent Billy out. He took care of my unit, got it up and running. Now, when it was cold this week, my heat was perfectly fine. I was happy. When it gets up into the 90s here in a few weeks, and again, you know it's coming, they'll make sure that your air conditioner is running well. 803-677-1500. If you've got an issue, if you need a new heating and air unit, how about this? AAA Heating and Air will pay you $1,500 to take away your old unit. They'll give you a credit. Then on top of that, they'll offer you 0% financing, no money down for a brand new unit. That's treating you like family. That's why I love the family-run business that is AAA Heating and Air, and I trust them with something that I have zero clue about. You think I have no clue about football talent? Oh, boy. You should see how much information I know about AAA, about my heating and air unit. That's why I trust AAA Heating and Air to come and take care of me. You need to do the same. 803-677-1500. Give AAA Heating and Air a call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Lost him. Just want to hold a team under 10 points. I mean, that'd be a phenomenal defensive showing. Be outstanding.
That would be pretty good.
You guys giving the people nothing. You look like you're studying for an exam.
I was trying to get emails. Studying for an exam this Friday, Tim.
Jason, come on. E.T. Phone Home is your one line in a movie?
Do you see the video of the guy not going to do that?
Video of the guy what?
Not going to do that at the Padres game?
Yeah, I did see that. Disturbing.
Oh my gosh, he dropped like a ton of bricks.
Yep.
What now?
Guy in the stands at a Padres game walks up to a dude. The guy stands up and he just smashes him right in the mouth. The guy just drops immediately, and then like 3 other people come and jump on the guy.
Bill, if you type in Padres and go to videos on Twitter, I'm pretty sure it'll be like one of the first 2 results.
But how was that caught on video? Was it, like a planned thing? That's what's weird.
No, there's multiple angles. They were clearly chirping back and forth and you see the guy walking takes like a long walk, like from a section over.
Oh,
And
okay.
the guy gets up and he's like, guy puts his hands up like, what? And didn't realize that he was about to get punched in the face and just got dropped.
Oh.
His knees buckled and everything. It was a clean knockout.
Oh, dude.
You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. There was for sure like some jawing back and forth that would have led up to that moment. So there you can see in the background other people filming, and there's also an angle from above it. So clearly, like everyone knew that there
Something
was a
was
situation
coming.
brewing. Yeah.
And clearly, the Padres fan has punched somebody at least once. 'Cause that was
Yeah.
too-
Yeah.
That was just very succinct. That was an uppercut.
Some solid contact.
Yeah. Wow.
It's always wild seeing a person just out cold and just full dead legs drop.
And that's honestly probably what will hurt worse.
Yeah, you get
recovering.
you're hitting your head.
Yep.
Yeah. Californians, man.
Well done, Mark. I'm with you on those quotes.
Oh, yeah. A lot of good stuff there. Oh, gosh. Cutting it close.
I know. Extra minute.
Yeah.
That's
And
about all we got.
yeah.
Are we?
All right, guys are up.
Getting 6:30 first pitch, 6:15 airtime tonight for Carolina and Kentucky. Big series for the Gamecocks. Fun show. Asking you your favorite one-liners. All right, Patrick, you ready? Rapid fire.
I think so.
Surely you can't be serious and don't call me Shirley.
Airplane.
I got her number. How you like them apples?
Good Will Hunting.
Well done, Patrick. You've had two gloves this whole time? Yeah, we're in the Rockies.
Dumb and Dumber.
Nice work, sir. With this one, if you get this one, I'll be very impressed. This was the oddest line I saw from Charlie D. Miss Scout, stand up. Your father is passing.
Miss Scout. I know To Kill a Mockingbird had a teacher named her daughter Scout after that book.
Right, sir.
Yeah. Harper Lee.
Kill a Mockingbird. Patrick
Wow.
for the win.
Nice.
A martini, shaken, not stirred. Well done, Jason. We'll end with James Bond. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Good one, Tanya. All right, guys. That was a fun Friday show. Appreciate all the participation on the live stream. Where are those aren't pillows? Is that the planes, trains, and automobiles?
Yeah.
So,
You had that line. That's the only reason why I know it. Somebody.
Those aren't two pillows.
Varsity Blues again, Jim. You had 10 earlier. I don't want your laugh.
Yeah, we should have limited to sports, and we probably
Sports, yeah.
we got a bunch.
Maybe that'll be a different Friday show.
I don't know about those.
Sports movie quotes.
Probably remember the Titans. Coach, he's getting beat out there like he stole something. Ryan Gosling character can't cover anybody.
I said that on
That's
the
a good
sidelines of the
sign, Mark.
Gamecock
Good
game.
sign. I'm not going to make you work, though.
No.
Hope have a great weekend as well. I hear you. That would change the mood on Monday for sure.
Shoo.
You too.
Yep.
Bill,
Terps,
good luck
go
with that
Terps.
stomach. Any luck?
Yeah, I feel a little bit better. All right, I just ate some like bang bang chicken wrap last night. Just struggled.
Good job, Tanya.
All right, guys. We'll see you Monday morning, bright and early.
Chase Elliott is